Amazing. Rocky, I want to see you.
I really don't think they flew 90 billion light years to start a fight.
Sunset shield days so long gone, can't bring them back, no magic wand. Counting white cotton clouds, painted on the blue sky's shroud. And yet somehow that way it's baked with eternal hopeful flair. Pineapple pizza, Hawaiian ice creams, yeah. Can't wait to be up. 3 days of you and me. I'm
sailing! I'm sailing!
I just can't wait for 3 days of you and me.
He's been cited by Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, Benny Johnson, Timcast, Dr. Jordan Peterson, and even the U.S. government.
But soon they'll wake up to see the summer sizzle in me.
We're doomed. Will this never end?
Dire wolves back and so are you.
Oh yeah,
Belvedere flying over the moon.
oh yeah.
And everyone's singing just the right tune. Maestro blasting on the jazz flute.
We are all participating in mandatory fun activities.
Jelly bean bonus, every flavor in the bag. Super movie star, but first gotta join SAG.
Keep our eyes open.
Wunderkind, super friend, where are you? Get a search warrant for the near clear blue.
It's scooping time.
And can't you believe that? We've been waiting on you, can't you see that? Put away the bad things they said to you.
You are a sad, strange little man. Have my
After all, just have to call and say you're some kind of
Because you are the special.
epic. Epic, yeah, that's what you do. I'm talking about epic, it's all you know how to do.
You wake up blue to
Epic, it's on repeat for you. Oh, epic. Epic.
Hear ye, come on, to the never stopping daily strife, and it's called simpler times, they beckon so, floating on the water with no phone. Can we get away now, find a way now, somehow step out of this stream into a dream of slow it down. Jay says that he remembers a place before the never, ever, ever river severed our tranquility. Counting cars by Highway 30, sitting in the porch swing, guessing colors so poorly. Yeah. Is the next one a blue or red one? Maybe silver, maybe gray. What a way to spend a day.
Ladies
and gentlemen, it's the WDW Pro Show!
Let's take extra care to follow the instructions or you'll be put to sleep. And don't forget Taco Tuesday's coming next week. That's the day every rule-following citizen gets a free taco and my love.
But for me, it was Tuesday.
You know, sometimes you just got to show up and make everybody else look a little less than. Carol Brown is getting the walks in, getting the steps in. Carol, how you doing, my friend?
I am good. Thank you for asking. We're here like this today because one of my friends decided to challenge me. And if you know anything about me, there's first place and first place loser, and I will be first place.
All right, what's the challenge? What's the challenge, Carol?
Get the most steps in a day. Yesterday I had 30,000. And so he's going to try and get 30,000. And then when I send him my steps, I'll be at 40,000. I'll be like, oh, too bad to be you.
Now, wait a minute. I've had 30,000 steps before, but that took like doing a 5K and then walking the entire rest of the day.
That's all I do. I have a decimal right here. That's what we're doing. I started walking at 7. I stopped walking, I think, at 3. I took breaks to eat, go to the bathroom, you know.
Folks, never challenge Carol. That's not a good idea. You will lose, or as she says, second place is the first place loser. Odin is never a first place loser. Odin is here to help us walk through the box office. And Odin, today's show, man, the uniting theme is Hollywood is facing catastrophe. I mean, really, we need to be talking about just how bad this is. This is unsustainable on so many different levels. It is movie after movie to show after show. We are in the throes of like a death roll for Hollywood.
Yes, indeed. And it really makes you want to actually see some of the full financial information of some of these companies, because it makes you start to wonder, where are they getting all this money that they're just throwing away, that they're just, flushing down the toilet, as it were, especially when it comes to companies like Disney, which I know is going to be a big focus of the show today.
Yeah, it's like, what despot somewhere is flooding the funds of these Hollywood studios? Because boy, oh boy, the private market, the free market is not rewarding them. Jonas, we have a reward right now. Are you ready to bring in another panelist, sir?
Sure, absolutely. We bring in so many panelists here. Sometimes I forget to put everyone on screen.
Hey, Jonas, just hang on a second before you bring her in. Let me get. Okay. Is this convincing? Do I need to lower the camera? No, the chair's behind me. Darn it, this is not going to work.
Do you have one of those little walking machines underneath your desk?
Oh, that's a good idea. But that doesn't look like I'm doing it.
No, it doesn't. It just looks like you're doing the Donald Trump semi, like in between YMCA. You know.
Come on, Carol. Get the Trump moves going on. Okay. All right, who do we got, Jonas?
We have. Coming back for I have not gotten to be on a panel with this lady for a long time. Michelle from Force of Light Entertainment.
Hello.
Hello, Michelle.
I think I can do it.
There you go. Odin, you join in, and the whole top row is on the move. Look at that. And Odin, you're the lucky guy who gets between Caro and Michelle for the day. Folks, it's time to get underway. Haha, Jonas, you can't do it with us. Man, this is the most active. I feel like we're on an episode of Jazzercise from the 90s on the Disney Channel. Wait, no, that was Mousercise. You remember that? Nobody remembers Mousercise. Don't even. You couldn't wait a minute. No, sir. No. Move that avatar. What's behind you?
There's nothing back there.
No, you move that avatar. What is behind you? I see it. What is peeking out from behind? You hit it. The real Jonas was back there. I know he was.
It wasn't.
All right, Jonas, let's get the super chats up on the screen. Folks, 50 is the super chat goal today. Honestly, I think we're going to get there. I don't think it's going to be hard because the topics today, as I said, we're going to have a cleanser at some point. You know how when you're eating sushi, you're supposed to have pickled ginger or something? Like, we're going to have to, we got to have something to brighten the day. Not even I can be this negative about Hollywood with the stories we've got.
The first Dragon Queen, member for 19 months, last super for a while, helicopter escort in September to Epic, and animatronics are expensive. In the meantime, that animatronic place coming soon, where our animatronics last years. I'll be lurking. Hugs for all.
Don't lurk, please, First Dragon Queen. You don't have to send in, folks. We always want you to take care of yourselves first, and your finances matter more than the show. But don't feel like, well, I can't give, so therefore I'm just going to go silent. No, we want to see you in the chat. And you never know, we may put up your statements on the screen. I think you've deserved that sort of thing, First Dragon Queen. So don't say, well, I'm going into hiding. That's not what we want at all. We love seeing the names out there. We miss you when you're not here. And so please know, folks, you're seen and appreciated.
Yep. Speaking of people who are appreciated, Mark Fields for $2. Get out there and get your positive vibes.
Hey, we appreciate that as well. Mark reminds us to stay on the sunny side of life.
Yep. Let's see here. Garanite Shadow became a YouTube member. Thank you very much, Garanite Shadow.
Welcome aboard.
And hope you get those eyes checked. Tender Warrior 68 gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships.
All right, folks, we're going to click the button. We don't know what will happen. We turned into Lorne and Apollo. Okay, well, that's not crazy, okay? That's okay. All right, we'll play the Tender Warrior clip right now. Well, sort of right now. Right now! Play the clip, you.
Flying blind on a rocket cycle for $2. Good day, all. Good day.
And good day to you.
Yeah. Mr. Fulton Mraz, 2 weeks on Monday, July 20th is my biggest 27th birthday celebration. It'd be quite a feat if you had a small and a biggest birthday celebration.
That's the kind of person Mr. Fulton Mraz is. But Mr. Mraz, we ask that you come on back over here on Monday. If you can, we'll be doing an evening show that day. Stop on by. That'll be right after the Southeast Game Exchange. We'd love to wish you a happy birthday right then and there.
Yep. Burnouts for $10. Why did Minions and Monsters open soft? I know you enjoyed a third of the film, WDW Pro, as did I, but Deadline reports the audience majority was female. Your thoughts on Debbie and Dort? Spoil away.
My thoughts on Debbie and Dort, it's a fine C plot, I would say. You know, I think we needed to spend more time with the young lady. I'm enjoying that Hollywood so far has not figured out that she starts off in one vein and then she, by the end of the film, wants to be married, and that's interesting, eh? But in terms of it being soft, I'll give my thought, and I'd love to hear Odin's because I don't know what Odin thinks, and he may disagree with me. I think that this film, had it opened at the end of September or the beginning of October, it could have had a full Halloween run, and I think it would have made over $100 million in its opening. I think Minions and Monsters, that gives a Halloween vibe. It gives a spooky vibe. And I don't know that that's what people were interested in for the 4th of July. I think that was ill-timed on its release, or it was ill-marketed and they should have renamed it and gone with some other concept. It's really not even about monsters. I mean, it a little bit, kind of. You know, there's baby...
Minions and Monsters is about the making of a movie called...
Right.
About the making of a movie called Minions and Monsters.
It's really about kind of softly 1920s Hollywood. And that's really what the movie's about.
I'm shocked at the level of meta commentary that exists in Minions and Monsters.
Did you go see it?
Yes, I did.
What did you think about it? I gave it a 7 out of 10. What you think?
I would say it is definitely the best Minions movie, although that sounds like I'm throwing shade at it. I did think about the fact that Dort wants to destroy the Earth, and his chosen path on that is giving women the right to vote, and I wonder what Illumination meant by that.
Michelle, if you want to throw tomatoes at Jonas right now, Carol can't. She's taking steps right now.
I'm pointing out that this is what Dort does, is he just tries to destroy the Earth. The only action that he actually takes is saving the Earth and also becoming a suffragette.
Odin, what were your thoughts on this one opening soft? It's rated well. Not only critics, but also audiences seem to really like it. Audiences just didn't show up. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, based on what we have in front of us, it seems more likely. You oftentimes hear the thing thrown out there about franchise fatigue and everything, and most of the time it's just complete garbage. I think this might actually be one of the few times where it probably has a little bit more truth to it.
Number 7.
The kids are clearly loving this stuff, right? They love the Minions. They always get so excited. But I wouldn't be surprised if after the last few of these movies, whether it's the Despicable Me films or more notably the Minions movies, I wouldn't be surprised if parents have gotten burnt out on it. And if parents are like,
saying, I do not want to hear banana.
Maybe we'll hold off on this one. Maybe we won't go see this one. So I think it probably has more to do with that than anything else, because while it might have been able to do better if had it gotten an October release because of the Monsters connection, that also would have been outside of summer, which means kids in school, which means less available tickets to get at on a particular weekday, for instance. Also, having the 4th of July holiday should have also been a huge benefit to it, especially having like that extended run from that first Wednesday. But I honestly would not be surprised if this is one of the few times where it's actually a franchise fatigue thing. Because, yeah, Minions are very much beloved by kids and some adults too. But I would say a lot of parents are probably a little bit burnt out on them.
I can see that as well. It's become the kiddie Call of Duty for movies. I mean, right? Every year there's a Call of Duty. Every year there's a Madden. Every year there's a Minions or Despicable Me movie now, and we're on like number 7. So parents might have said, I am sick and tired of hearing ba 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 banana or whatever it goes. I don't know.
You know what's funny though is it was clear to me that they actually do love the Minions. It's not like they're doing a shameless cash grab. They actually do put a lot of care into the movies, which makes this very interesting to me. Like the whole thing, it's not the soulless thing that you would think something like the Minions would.
I was shocked. I was shocked when I went and saw it. I thought I was going to a soulless cash grab, just blah, blah, blah. And I came in, and the first third's awesome. The rest of the movie is very average, but the first third is fantastic.
Did y'all see the last film in the series? Because I had not seen the Minions films, like the franchise.
I'm sure I did.
But I feel like that one was not as well received as this one is currently.
Right. They start to bleed together. I think Rise of Gru is oddly forgettable. It's the previous one where they are taking over England, right?
I don't know. We saw it. I've reviewed it. I don't even remember now. There's so many of them.
It seems so. I also don't forget the power that a previous movie in a franchise can have. Where if it's apathetic in its result, that can lead to apathy going into the next one, being like, oh, the last one wasn't all that great. I'll just wait for that on streaming.
Well, then that's kind of the age that we live in. Is the last one Minions or Rise of Gru, or is the last one Despicable Me 4, which did gangbusters at the box office for an animated movie?
Even Rise of Gru did well for what it was.
Yeah. Ryer Goddard, member for 35, still can't get used to the new Jonas. Hey man, I'm just a girl in transition here. I'm trying my best to make my way in a new law firm.
Paging Mr. Page, paging Mr. Page.
Flying blind on a rocket cycle for $2. Was there a new sizzle or something yesterday? I hope not.
I only played 5 seconds. I can't do Mark Ruffalo anymore. It's over. I can't do it. Okay, Disney may have switched from Pedro to Ruffalo. I can't. I cannot punish the audience that way. It's just too much.
Yep. Planet Ab for $5. If I did it right, I sent you an email using the channel address. No need to rush. Just letting you know it's not spam.
We'll get there. Just know we get a lot of communications, and it can take days and days for us to get back. It's not because we're trying to be reticent in response, but it's just the volume. But we will get there, Planet AB, and we appreciate that. Also, if Chad is watching, Chad, I'll be getting you a response hopefully later today as well. I saw that you sent an email in.
Yep. Lou Wasserman's Ghost for $5.
Hey, it's Lou.
Yeah. People went to Toy Story based on opening week. Friends' word of mouth will go to Minions next week. That's what's going on.
Could be.
That's a
maybe
fair point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, maybe. Whenever I hear the competition argument, I'm always a little bit hesitant because in my head, it just doesn't make sense for someone to say, I can only see one of 2 movies this weekend. It's like, no. If you want to go see a movie, you're going to go see the movie. It doesn't matter if there's a lot of other films that are currently out or not. So we will see, right? If it holds really well, maybe there's a little bit more to it. But if it has a kind of a typical drop that most Minions films or Despicable Me films have, or if it has a very large drop like Toy Story 5 had for an animated movie especially, then that could say something else. But we won't really... That's why I typically save all of my projections on what's going to happen long-term for that second weekend, because the second weekend's always going to be the bigger factor as far as what the long-term success is actually going to be for a film.
Yeah, I'll say, Minions, it would not surprise me if it has a 40% drop, something like that. That wouldn't surprise me. I'm not calling for it, but that wouldn't shock me. The problem is it opens so low that even if it has pretty darn good holds, it's going to make $500, $600 million, even with great holds. And it's going to make money, but that's still $300 million off of what they were probably expecting. And that's a big problem for them. They're going to be recalibrating. Hopefully they learn the right lessons. I hate for them to learn the wrong lessons, which seems to be all that Hollywood does. Folks, we got a lesson for everybody out there, and that is stay hydrated. Caro, you especially. Folks, it's time to click it and sip it. You click the like button. We'll all take a sip together. Caro, what are you imbibing today?
I have flavored water because I got tired of drinking regular water. So it's orange sickle flavor.
Hey, what dull, old, boring, regular water. Who wants that in their life? I don't. Odin, what are you drinking today?
Also water with some Propel.
Hey, all right.
Grape Propel.
Ooh, Very nice. Michelle, what is your bubbly? Michelle, you're muted, but it's very patriotic.
Uh-oh.
It's StreamYard, Michelle. Just click the unmute button on StreamYard.
Oh.
You
My mouth was going wild. I couldn't get it. I am drinking water with lemon out of my 250th birthday edition.
Ooh.
Water.
And Jonas, finally for you, what shall you have today?
Water.
Water, eh?
Yep.
All right, I say. Well, I'll
What
be
are you
having
having?
shaken ristretto, Jonas.
Again?
Again. Hey, it's the go-to.
Is it Starbucks?
It is this time. I was in a rush this morning.
Ugh.
All right, folks. I know. Blah, 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 blah. Hate it for us, but, you got to do what you got to do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to what we hate indeedly doodly. What are you laughing about?
Nothing. You hate it, except that they all know you at your local Starbucks.
They know me at every coffee place there is. They know me when I show
Now,
up.
the real question, is there
Yes.
coffee with that sugar that you just held up?
Oh, there's no sugar. We're not doing sugar. Yeah, no sugar and definitely coffee. There's blonde ristretto. There are a few pumps of sugar-free vanilla, but that's about it. So, all right, folks, let's dive in. Let's talk about the decaf version of Disney World. See that segue? No, that's a segue.
Did
The
we ever do
decaf
the
version
sip?
of
I'm sorry.
What?
Did we ever actually do the sip?
Did you not sip?
I sipped.
Hold on,
We're
Jonas.
supposed to do it together.
In high definition, Jonas, please go ahead and sip.
Glug glug. I mean, it's what
This is
do you,
so-
Do you want me to talk directly into the water bottle? Is that what?
Do
we're
it
doing?
again. That sounds creepy. Go ahead. Here we go.
But don't hit the like button again. That would
Did you? Who made the Slurpee sounds? That
That
was
was me.
That was
wow. Man, that could go into a cartoon as an effect. That was not bad. Ladies and gents, let's dive in. The news never stops. Neither do we. We're ready to go. We're going to rock it. Everything on the docket. First story right now. Well, they finally killed Disney World. Yep, that's the story. Hang with us. It's real. And the pixie dusters, the few that remain, the cupcakers, they're going to say, Bro, you're lying. Bro, it's so crowded. No, it's not. Wall Street Apes says even foreigners are noticing how anti-American Disney has become. Says, I just want to express my... Well, you know what? Let's just play it, okay? Here's a guy who shows up at Disney on the 4th of July from across the pond and says, what's going on here? Why is Disney doing nothing for the 4th? All the advertisements said they were. We saw that they were going to do Soaring Over USA. There's nothing here for the 4th of July. Why does Disney hate America?
I just want to express my disappointment with Disney on the 4th of July. So we're here at Hollywood Studios and there is zero, and I mean zero, acknowledgement of 4th of July. This is America. This is, what the hell is going on? Disney.
He's got a
needs to
Bass
sort
Pro hat
itself
on.
out.
I respect
I
him.
don't normally put things like this
Respect.
up, but I feel like the patriotism in Disney is just not there, and it's very disappointing.
Okay, so you got people from across... Okay, let me show you this, all right? What did Disney do at Epcot for their 4th of July celebration? Well, they started off the fireworks with the Black National Anthem, which, whatever you might think about it, folks, is divisive.
Tapestry, that is the United States of America.
As Disney celebrates America, join us now.
By the way, this is from inside Geo 82, the adults-only bar at Spaceship Earth. So if you're wondering why are there windows and reflections, etc.
In a salute to the enduring spirit of the American people who stand together and become the heartbeat of freedom.
Lift every voice and
I like how they start the Black National Anthem, and it's ominous. Doo.
till earth and heaven ring.
By the way, one of the few references to heaven that they would ever do at a Disney park. They have to do
Exactly.
it within that context.
So all this to say, we'll start our conversation in just a second, but all this to say, it's no surprise to me that now Disney tourist blog, Tom Bricker, who we love, is reporting July 2026 is Disney World's least busy month since September 2021, which should be impossible. Now, why should that be impossible? By the end of July, we could say, okay, they've got a problem. But the fact this is now being measured, we've only had holidays. July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. This is just surrounding a holiday where they're supposed to have everybody in the parks to see the fireworks, etc. This should be impossible. Thrill data is confirming this. Only holidays. This is going to get worse. The average monthly wait time for Disney, which we correlate with crowd levels, this is July so far. And again, we're only measuring holidays. This is going to get worse. We haven't seen a month this bad, this sparse, this uncrowded since all the way back in September of 2021, when the resurgence of the pandemic was happening and places like California, New York were shutting down again. That's how bad that's what we have to go to compare this July. And this is going to get worse. Right now, we're at an average of 24 minutes per wait time. It was 20 minutes. We might actually go under that in July, by July 31st. We might be worse than when the country was shut down. And I got to say, panel, I think all of this anti-American stuff, I think all of this promoting America in their advertisements, but really doing almost nothing in the parks, I think this is why we have stark crowd levels. Michelle, I'll start with you. I think they finally killed Disney World. I think people are finally not going.
Well, I think time will tell if they finally have killed Disney. But I mean, I don't think anyone finds it particularly surprising that they weren't very patriotic for the 250th birthday of America. But I also see people being, sorry, as my phone goes off, I also see people being very disappointed with that. Because, I mean, when you're in America in the 4th, you do expect them to put on a show for the 4th of July.
Sure. And I would also add to this, you've got the World Cup with some of the games happening in Miami.
Yes.
You would think a lot of those tourists, and flooded, Florida is flooded with tourists. You would think a lot of them would say, you know what, we got to do Disney just one day. None of that is happening. And I think it's the policies of Disney. I think they have alienated so many people at this point that, one, the right isn't going to show up, Odin, and two, the left now is saying, well, we're not going to go. We're not going to celebrate America because of that orange man. So nobody's at Disney.
Yeah, I mean, I always like to play devil's advocate with stuff that I don't fully understand because I do want to understand it a little bit more. Do we know that from the wait times that this is also by keeping into memory rides that are closed, being worked on, things like that could potentially like increase wait times or anything like that? Like, I don't know what kind of impact that might have. And then also bring up things like the World Cup. This is something I'm sure Tony at Deadline, amongst many others, would probably also bring up in their excuses for what's going on. It is the World Cup. They don't have time to go to Disney World. They're spending all their money on the games. So why would they spend it on Disney?
Well, that's a good point.
Even if they brought that excuse up, though, that actually is still a knock against Disney, because Disney used to be the place where no matter what you were doing, how much money you were spending, you would go to Disney. And now it's I'm already spent enough money. No, thank you. And that, to me, is also just as bad for Disney in this case.
We always need those kinds of questions, Odin, and it creates the opportunity to say, for those who don't know, that this chart is actually worse than it seems because there are less rides today than there were years ago, because Disney has destroyed Rivers of America. They've taken out Muppet Vision. So, and all of Dino Land USA and Animal Kingdom is down and destroyed, and they're replacing it. So there are less attractions today than there were. I mean, Animal Kingdom has like 5 things to do, maybe 6. Hollywood Studios, we counted the other day, 7 attractions total. So when you have less attractions, even if you have the same crowd level, the wait times must go up, because of all things equal, less attractions means, well, we're all going to wait longer now because there's less things to do. And yet it's still collapsing. It's kind of like at the box office when we see terrible numbers. We say, well, it's actually worse because of inflation. And this is the kind of thing we're seeing with Disney World. So this is not good. And I think it's the comeuppance for the mouse. They have spent years and years and years downgrading everything. They have just been attacking resort hopping, where people could go from hotel to hotel. That's going away. They're making it where you can't do transportation for free. And, there's nothing that you look at Disney today and say, well, this is better. Everything is worse. Everything is some sort of shade of what it once was. And Carol, there's no shade in the Florida sun either. So they got rid of a lot of their buildings with AC. So that's great idea. Way to go, Bob.
Well, Bogey Bob strikes again, even though he's not there anymore.
That's right. He's the Banshee Bob now.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I noticed in those two clips that you showed is that I didn't see any kids.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because like kids themselves aren't interested in going into Disneyland, so like families don't feel the need to go. And Disneyland is just turning more and more into a let's go here and drink, and then let's go over here and drink, and then let's go drink over there. Where last time I checked, I could just go to Buc-ee's and buy like a bottle of Crown and just drink it peacefully in my house and eat steak. So
Listen, but the bubbly has the it has the margins, and so that's what they're after. Jonas, the fact that we are just a few days into July and it's already registering as the lowest,
like
and
no
it's going to get
kid.
worse.
No,
no kids. And Carol, did you bring that up last time we played one of these? And you said, "Wait a minute, where are all the kids?"
I did, yeah. And I was actually talking to Marv about it. I think it was on a Friday show, and we talked, and he was predicting that the 4th of July was going to have a low attendance. And then, but then he was talking about like a whole about the fireworks show is really good. I was like, "Well, are you going to go?" And he's like, "No, I'm going to stay home and barbecue." So I was like,
"Right, I'm going to watch it on the stream if I watch it at all."
Yeah.
Jonas, your thoughts on where Disney is, because they've been using Disney World, and a lot of people don't know this. All of their box office woes, all of the troubles the company has faced, the entire way through, they subsidize the suck of the rest of the company with Disney World. And if Disney World falls, this is by far, it's not even close. There is no close second place. This is their profit machine.
You know, what's interesting is I'm not really going to push back on
okay, I see some kids. There's some children here.
Yeah,
she's found a child.
Yeah. There was a stroller way back in the background in one of the shots that I saw. But I think what this more clearly states to me is the people that are interested in the 4th of July are not going to Disney. Like the audience that is interested in Americana and Disney's version of, as in Walt Disney's version of Americana, which is awesome and wonderful and cheesy and just what Americana should be. Americana should be a little cheesy, which is something that Disney should be, is a little cheesy. But now the company's a little bit cynical. There's this aspect out in California that we've heard from executives to say, well, that Florida is where the Hicks give us their money. That attitude has probably permeated the company a little bit too distinctly, and I don't think people want to pay all that much money to be talked down to. If you're the kind of person who wants great fireworks, you can go to Disney and see the great fireworks. That's fantastic. But if you're going to put that much money into fireworks, you can light fireworks yourself, and they won't necessarily be better than Disney fireworks, but they'll be better for you. I think when it comes down to it, this is just a company that has become a little too disconnected from the American audience in general. And Disney has its audience. It's just not the same thing that it used to be. It used to be general audiences. And now it's more like a niche brand. They've made people choose in the way that people generally choose in smartphones, an Android or an Apple. And there's somebody who has a Windows phone out there who is enraged that I've only mentioned 2 brands. But Disney has become a divisive lifestyle brand that some people still go to. And so it's no longer a given. This used to be, by the way, one of the busiest days that you could ever go to a Disney park, to the point where they were having the fire marshals come in and say, hey, you actually do have to have a limit to the number of people you let into these parks. So
been there when it was like that. It was miserable, but they were making money. They were making money.
So this day in particular is one that it's such a stark difference. I'm sure Christmas is still miserable at Disney as far as crowds go, but July 4th being given up on by whatever segment of the audience, that I think that says something about Disney and their place in culture at this moment.
Well, this is why they got to sell out now on the not so scary Halloween stuff and the Mickey's Very Merry and all that. They got to sell out these other VIP events because they're not selling out even close on the holidays. July looking very bad. And folks, if the box office is sad for Disney, if Disney World's not there, there is no safety net anymore. Josh tomorrow could have woes very soon. All right, it's woeful. It could be awful. Moana is on the way to the box office, and Dwayne Johnson is not having a good time. Neither is this young lady, unfortunately. One on the left, not the one on the right. She got advertising money. This one over here, though, she's going to make some money, but the movie may not. ThatParkPlace.com reporting it. Moana box office projections fall again as live-action remake faces potentially disastrous opening weekend. Oh my, oh my. And it's not only this, folks. Remember, Moana needs to help dig Disney out of the failure of Mandalorian Grogu as well as Hoppers. Those movies went very negative, and so Toy Story is trying to do a lift. Moana needs to assist, and now it's looking like even the winds are out of the sails of Toy Story. We'll explain in just a minute. Disney's live-action remake experiment may be facing another major test as box office projections for Moana continue to slide ahead of release. Once viewed as one of Disney's safest bets due to the enormous popularity of the animated franchise, it was the #1 movie in streaming, by the way, on Disney Plus and any streaming for years. The live-action Moana remake, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, is now reportedly tracking far below the kind of numbers many expected from one of the studio's premier modern properties. According to Global Box Office, expectations for the film's domestic opening weekend have fallen again, with the outlet now projecting Moana to debut in the $45 to $60 million range. Now, it says the budget is $200 million. I suspect, folks, that the cost of this movie is actually far in excess. And they're doing a world tour. They're stopping in all kinds of places, Hawaii, and everywhere else. Those are expensive. The marketing on this film is going to be crazy expensive. So at the very least, I think we are kind. We're benevolent even, as so many say, to say that Moana needs $600 million to break even. But I think it's higher than that. And if this is opening to 45 to 60 domestically, look out. We may be looking at another Supergirl situation. This film is ugly. The Rock in this bodysuit does not look good. And this does not look good. Before I go to one other part of this story that we need to discuss, panel, I want to show you this. I just mentioned Toy Story 5. The wins are not particularly in the sales of this. If you look at the 764 for the worldwide box office after now having been out for, what is this, 2 weeks, 3 weeks for Toy Story?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, we're going to the third weekend. There aren't a lot of films that generate $250 million starting in week 3 on. Now, I'm not saying that it's not going to do that, and Disney can leave Toy Story 5 in the box office forever and let it limp across the billion mark. But this is starting to slow down significantly. And this appeared at the first week to be a guaranteed billion. I don't think it's guaranteed anymore. Odin, I'll go to you. Moana is struggling. Toy Story 5, not a guarantee. Still probable, I would say. But those ideas where we were talking about, this is the biggest animated movie ever, that's all going away rather quickly. What do you say about this?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when they started to announce, the biggest opening in the franchise, or, they like to kind of run their mouths with all that nonsense. And as my, name indicates, I care about things like inflation and actually looking at ticket sales and things like that. And the fact is, Toy Story 5 still had about, 4 million less tickets sold in its opening domestic than the last Toy Story movie or so.
And way less than Toy Story 3.
Yeah, so we're talking about significant losses, between the movie's releases and then, again, the inflated ticket price being a big part of that. So I guess starting off with Toy Story specifically, yeah, opening weekend, the indications were if it had a typical run for an animated movie, especially for a Toy Story movie, $1 billion would have been very easily on the table. And with the second weekend numbers, even with that, it still seemed more than likely. The way that I typically do my charting is I look at, okay, what do films historically do after their second weekends? And most films, on average, either double their box office or, in a best case scenario, or their second weekend actually makes up about 70% of their entire box office, and they don't make too much more after that. So with that in mind, the average actually would still put the film at $1 billion, but just barely at $1 billion. Now, personally, I think the film is still going to hit that because it is still, again, doing pretty well, especially when you look at the numbers there. The fact that the domestic and international are also very closely together. You're not seeing a higher international versus domestic. Again, that's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on as well. But I do still think that $1 billion is going to be on the table. The bigger factor, the more kind of impressive thing about all of this, though, is that even with the amount of money that it's made so far, it is still not broken even. With a $250 million budget, right? Your typical break even these days is about 3 times
hold
your
on,
budget.
Odin.
Yeah.
Hold on, Odin. Can I just say I love you for this? Because when I do this, I take so much heat, and it's so nice to have somebody who the stats, the numbers, and Thank you for doing this for me, so I don't have to be the one who comes out and says, needs $800 million to break even. And people go, bro, you're an idiot.
No, I mean, because again, whenever we do break evens, it's always an estimate. All right, it is always a range. It's never an exact figure. The reason why is because we cannot predict where a movie is going to make money. Right, we can't predict whether it's going to make more money domestically, whether it's going to make more money internationally, and where it makes money is a huge factor in what your actual break-even point is going to be. And when you look at the numbers here, obviously a bigger chunk is still coming from the international market, and about over 30 million at this point is from China, where your return on investment is that much lower. So based off what we have right now, right, with the budget being 250, with the marketing being projected to be well over 100 million, probably over 150 million dollars or so, but even just looking at the budget, this film, as of right now, is still about $19 million in the red. So it's gonna hit its break-even point. It's gonna make money. I'm not saying that that's not gonna happen.
But it has to dig them out. Oh, and I bet this is where you're going. It has to dig them out of the losses for Mandalorian, which is insane, and the losses from Hoppers, and it's going to struggle to do that because, as you said, the break-even is so high, and now it may have to dig them out of Moana as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Moana, probably, as you said, cost at least $200 million, break even roughly 600. And again, it's probably not going to hit that based on the numbers that we are seeing right now. I did some, initial kind of research to see how the live action film's done. And if this film does between, 40 and 60 million domestic, that puts it closer to the track of Snow White's domestic.
Right.
Snow White only opened to about $42 million domestically. So if it hits at that lower end, in the domestic side, it would be very much closer to a Supergirl situation, basically, but in this case for Disney. I don't think it's going to hit that. I don't think the numbers, also internationally, I don't think the numbers are going to be nearly as bad for this as it was for Supergirl, but it is still likely to be one of the worst openings in the history of their live action remakes. And after last year's very successful Lilo and Stitch, this is, I think, going to be a very big sign to them that they cannot just take every property, make it live action, and assume it's going to make them money. Because right now, it's not likely that this film, again, all things could change once the numbers come out, especially once those internationals come out. But this is not going to be a film that's going to be any type of a safety net for them. In fact, it could even end up being a loser for them.
Odin, let me do one follow-up with you, and then we'll get the rest of the panel in.
Yeah.
My estimation is that Toy Story 5 has got to get somewhere around 450 domestic for this to get on the billion mark, right? It is being slightly led by the international. Yeah. What's challenging about that, and this is Disney's fault. This is them, okay? This is their scheduling. Toy Story, in its third weekend, what I worry about in terms of it getting to the billion, and I'm with you, I think it's still likely it does, but it's a possibility it doesn't. Mm-hmm. And the possibility enters because all of those screens that Toy Story 5 has been enjoying, many of them are going to go to Moana. Mm-hmm. And Moana looks like a disaster, but it is a contractually obligated disaster the theaters must put on screens, and some of those screens, they've got to come out of Toy Story 5. They just have to. You can't have 3 family films running at the same time and not say, Minions, Toy Story, you guys got to give up some of these screens to make way for Moana. Disney is actually shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, and they're so hard-headed that they will... I mean, if it was me, if it was my movie and this was all happening, I would be saying, all right, let's see how it does opening day, and then let's kind of refigure some things. Because Disney has always been the most notorious and the worst studio in how it handles its relationships with theaters, specifically with how it shows movies. I worked at a theater for a few years, and so I got to kind of see the booking behind the scenes. And so what Disney does, for those that maybe don't know, is that Disney will tell a theater, oh, you've got X amount of screens that can do 3D capabilities. You have X amount of screens that can do IMAX, etc. Okay, if you want our movie, here's what you got to give us. You have to have X amount of IMAX showings every day. You have to have X amount of 3D showings, X amount. And if you don't do that, then you don't get the movie. Or you could be held, violating of the agreement, and it could cause some problems down the road. So if I was me, I would say, all right, if Moana sucks, if Moana doesn't do anything, I would call the theaters and say, all right, let's actually, we're going to let you show Toy Story 5 instead, right? We're going to alleviate you from this agreement a little bit and try to get a little bit of help here. But they're not going to do that, right? They're going to think, oh, Moana's going to do fine, and oh, everything's great, and then they're not going to want to basically admit defeat there. But do not be surprised if maybe it's not as long of a hold, right? Because typically they have about 2 weeks where they'll have 2 weeks ownership of IMAX or of premium format screens. That's typically how they like to do things. But if they decided after a week to maybe shift that wouldn't surprise me. But Disney's very hard-headed, so if they don't, that wouldn't surprise me either.
I'm going to throw in 2 data points here. The first of all is they're already talking about Moana 3. That's dropped, and they said, "Oh, we're in talks for it." They've already got Jared Bush and Dana Ledoux Miller working on the next one. She's the one who wrote Moana 2, and she's writing the live action, or wrote the live action. I don't know which version of the live action, because they made 2 separate articles talking about the end of principal photography on that were years apart, if not months. So the other thing I'm going to point out is Hoppers, shockingly, actually nearly topped the Nielsen charts. That was a movie that did not do that well at the box
Did it just come out?
Yeah. The numbers for Hoppers, it was number 2 on the entire chart. Not number 1 on the, well, obviously number 1 on the movies chart, but it actually did well, which is something that never happens for Disney. So there is an added element here of there is some interest, but it's not enough to get people into the theaters.
I'm trying to get that to come to the screen. The Nielsen is not wanting to participate right now. Here we go. Let's see. Nielsen. Let's see what we got.
There it is right there. Almost 1,200. Sorry, I should say 1.1 billion watch minutes in the week that it came out. And it came out on a Wednesday, I'm sure, so it's half a week.
But I also, here's the thing that always gets me, though, because as impressive as that might be, the fact that Bluey is still at where it is, and that a brand new thing from Disney called Hoppers is only barely beating it, I think says, okay, it might be good for the overall chart, but to me, if I look at that, I say, oh man, our new thing's only barely beating Bluey.
Oh, absolutely. And it's rare that anything new actually does get there. This is the outlier. Like, Disney rarely has anything Disney branded in the top 10 ever. They'll have, like, Moana will be near somewhere in the top 10 for movies, which is the also ran chart. It's the I guess it's the miscongeniality of the chart over here. So Bluey will go back to the top in a few weeks, more than likely.
Here's what's amazing to me about the Bluey thing. We'll sidebar for just a second. When you see something successful from any of these companies, what do they often do? Man, they make oodles, especially if it's a kid's property. They copy it. They copy it over and over. If something works on Disney Junior, there's 15 of them, like in the next year, because they know how to create the model and then follow it. Nobody, outside of that little Chip Chilla thing that showed up on the Daily Wire's ill-fated streaming service, nobody is trying to copy Bluey. And the reason I believe nobody's trying to copy Bluey is because they hate it. They don't like it. They don't like that it's traditional. They don't like that it's conservative. They don't like that, it's a nuclear family of dog people that, the parents play with the kids, and it's, mom and dad, and they're good and they're moral and all that kind of stuff. They don't like it. I think they resent the heck out of that show. And they just picked it up as a little added, BBC thing to throw on over in Disney Plus, and it suddenly took over their streaming service and was like, hey, by the way, all the Disney fans, this is actually what they've been wanting. It's antithetical to everything you're making, but what are you going to do now, eh? Throw it into the Disney parks as fast as you can, and don't emulate it. Whatever you do, don't make another one of these. That's the Disney way right now.
It might even be simpler than that, though. I don't think they can make it. That's the bigger thing. They don't have the capacity anymore. All their creativity went out the door, most notably when Lasseter went out.
Darn you, Odin, you're right
they just
again.
don't have it anymore.
Quit being right over and over now.
No, keep being right. This is beautiful.
Michelle, let me pull this up on the screen. Get it right fast. When we're talking about the money that's going into these movies like Moana, and Carol, you feel free to weigh in as well, but this is where the money's going. This is from Killer Crew over on X. It says, The Rock was shocked when a fan showed up and gifted him a vintage wrestling magazine featuring his grandfather, Peter Maivia. Maivia? I don't know. Maivia. Okay. So this is at one of the international stops. Looks like it's in England for Moana. So he's showing up. Disney is sending him and all the cast and crew to location after location after location It's like little red carpets everywhere. The money is insane. I'll play this because I actually like it. I think this is an organic situation. I don't think that Disney pre-planned it, which is crazy to me. Usually all of this is synthetic and make-believe, but I think this is real. But as we play it, in the background, keep in your minds, folks, the money this costs, the marketing. So when people tell us, well, they probably only spent $50 million in marketing. Oh, give me a break. This is how you get into the $200 million marketing kind of discussion.
Absolutely. I got you. Hi, guys. Wow, look at that, man. Wow. Let me see. Can you see these? Oh, my God. Wow. This was for me. This is from Britain. Oh my God. Yeah, my grandfather used to wrestle here, man, in London. This is crazy. Peter Van in my view. Is the inspiration for Maui.
Yeah, exactly. And they're actually for your mum.
They're for my mom.
I met your mum at Dallas WrestleMania.
Yeah.
We had a chat about your grandfather.
Wow.
And I told her about the magazines.
Yeah.
And she said she'd love to see them someday.
I'm going to carry these to her, and I'm going to give these to her. I'm going to make.
All right, so I just wanted to play that because it's so negative right now, everything we cover, and I am so desperate for any positive news. So, silver lining, Disney's paying hundreds of millions of dollars for marketing, but at least Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson got magazines of his grandfather, and that's a nice moment. But it is very expensive what they're doing, Michelle.
I mean, it is great what they're doing. I have a thing about the world tour real quick. It went to Hawaii, Shanghai, Sydney, London, Rio de Janeiro, Miami, Puerto Rico, Los Angeles, New York, and Tokyo.
That's okay, Jonas. They put The Rock in Motel 8s all around the world. Very inexpensive. He's okay.
Just 50 billion.
I didn't mean to step on Michelle.
No. We needed that context, Michelle. They keep doing this. They did with Mando. It is crazy expensive.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not the audience for Moana.
No, you really are, Michelle.
No, I'm not though, because Moana, it's a newer one. It came out,
okay.
It came out when I was out of college by the time Moana came out. So, I'm not really the demographic for this movie. It looks like trash. So
they're hoping your niece is going to make you go see it. I mean, listen, that's what they're counting on. Is the ladies going to see?
Absolutely not going to see that movie.
Snow White, here we come again. All right, Carol, your thoughts on the situation? Disney trying to dig themselves out of this box office. A lot of folks, they don't realize the House of Mouse is underwater right now, and it looks like it could be worse by the end of July.
Hold on, I will say this really quick. They have had one win, and I at the beginning knew it was going to be their win of the year.
Let me see if I can.
And that was The Devil Wears Prada 2.
Got my little horns on. I was ready for that one. Yeah, you're right.
So they did have that win, but that I think is going to be it.
So, Devil Wears Prada probably made them what, $300 million in profit. So that's
Plus,
good.
It will do killer numbers when they put it on Hulu.
Yep. So
about 150 million in net profit.
Really, I thought it was higher than that. Now, okay. So I had stopped paying attention months ago.
I may not have. Yeah, I stopped paying attention, but I think the final global was close to 677.
Oh, okay. I thought it topped 700.
Yeah, and if it had been good, it would have been $1 billion.
Yeah. So they've got a lot of digging to do. Caro, your thoughts on, I guess, the public perception, because I don't think normies understand. They see the big numbers. People talk about, well, Disney's leading the pack, and it's like they're negative right now.
I think a lot of times it's what's a good example? Like take Altered Carbon, for example. I had never read the book. I had seen the Netflix show, and originally I was like, oh, this Netflix show seems really good. And I mentioned it to my friend, and he was like, no, it's trash. And I was like, whoa, right? And then I went and read the book, and I was like, man, you're right, it is trash, right? So I think in a lot of cases, because people don't have that context, they're pulling from what they know, and what they know is very limited. My one thought that I had while I was watching some of this was, I wonder if Dwayne was contracted to do the live action, and maybe his legal team pushed Disney into doing it while he can still do it.
No, to my knowledge, he was not contracted to do it. I think he made a lot of money. I think there is a ton of money that they threw at him. He is primarily the only major star in the movie, so far as I'm aware, and so I think he commanded a huge contract.
No sense. It makes
Well,
no
we're trying
sense
to figure
me.
out where the money went because the trailer doesn't look like it's on screen.
Went to
Because,
CGI.
He is a big star, but he's not like. Again, he was the star of Black Adam, and that film flopped. No one actually went to go see it because he is not actually a big draw in and of himself. If you announce him, maybe not as much today because of everything going on with the WWE and the TKO takeover, but I mean, back in the day, if you announced The Rock was going to show up on Monday Night Raw, you could sell tickets to that. You could sell tickets to the wrestling shows, and he might have a lot of followers on social media. But The Rock is always my prime example of how social media followers does not actually equal purchasing power. It does not actually result in ticket sales.
Well, it's also a completely different audience. Stone Cold Steve Austin can sell tickets to an arena, but if you put him in a Disney movie,
or any movie,
I
don't know.
What?
Stone Cold Steve Austin as Uncle Remus would be one heck of a play. Zippity doo. No, I won't do it. I don't want to.
When we went to go see Minions and Monsters, one of my kids looked at the Moana poster and said, "What did they do to Maui?
Why? Why? Not you too. Hey, please." All right, Jonas, what a great show so far. How about the super chats?
Hey, looks like he's taken on the mantle of a Dark Lord of the Sith in the trailer there. The yellow-eyed chicken. Patrick Ganaway gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships.
Thank you, Patrick. It's an honor every time. The fact that you would entrust us and gift those folks. If you received a gifted membership, make sure to say thank you.
Chemical sunshine. Professor says pay no mind.
Still definitely not Mr. Cavill.
Do you mind if I address something in the chat really fast? Because they are saying, the new Spider-Man is tracking to do very well, but I don't think it can actually make Disney that much. Am I correct? Because doesn't Sony get half of it?
Yeah, Sony gets all of it, I'm pretty sure.
No. He
No,
brought up a good point. So Eugene, I'll go back and forth a little bit with him. He made a good point. Disney puts up 25% of the funding for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it is actually a deal between Sony and Disney. So they put up 25%, and then they get 25% of profits.
Right.
So that's the big question is going to be how much does it make? Where does it make it? Because that's always the big factor. Because if it's a lot more international audience, that's a lot less profit for everyone involved. So they could make a bit. They could probably make well over 100 million, maybe even upwards of that much money. It would depend on what the final number is, where the numbers actually are. And guess what? That's still not making up for their losses this year.
Yeah, and that conversation, that is so complex, but it's worth it, and we'll go there. I know Odin will cover it. Valiant's going to cover it. I'm going to cover it. That's the kind of situation where it requires an entire video to break down exactly where that money is coming from and where it's going, because it's not as simple as here's the production, here's the marketing, here's the percentage back from the theaters. Like, we have this additional thing where Disney is also fronting 25% of the production cost. I don't know about marketing, maybe 25% of marketing too. I'm not sure about that. And then they're getting 25% of the profit back. And so we'll go into that once we get closer, but I don't expect it to make that much for Disney in profit, but I would expect it to be significant still.
Yeah. Yep. 280Z Bear. Is that a Nissan? For $2, I'm rooting for Spain.
I can't believe it. Listen, Andre, your good friend over at Midnight's Edge. What a Norwegian. And you're not saying for Andre, we go Norway. I can't believe it.
Norway, could he root for
my
them?
wife, who says she's supporting Spain, but she doesn't watch any of the soccer. She just hasn't watched any games of the World Cup so far. It's only because Spain is currently, or at least at one point was in preparation for the World Cup, was based here in Chattanooga, and so therefore she's like, "Oh, we got to support Spain because they were here." And
Well, I'll tell you this. I know a little bit about soccer, football. It's not my favorite sport to play or to watch, but I don't want to be mean. I don't want to denigrate any team. I don't want to be a fair weather fan. That USA game,
embarrassing.
There were mistakes made that middle schoolers would not make. Mm-hmm. Middle schoolers would not do that. And the idea that a country of 300 million plus, in population, had that on the field to offer to the world, embarrassing.
It's a Datsun. which Dotson, we got a Dotson here. Patrick Ganaway for $5. Disney parks are turning into world's biggest drinking joints. That's a very expensive way to get drunk, too. I would just have to point that out. I'm assuming I don't drink, but
it's inebriated magic, Jonas. Come on.
Sure. Chef Eddie for $5. All hail Caro, queen of the WGW Pro Empire, writer of songs that make the whole world sing, including the Magical Girl Jonas theme song. I know of no theme songs.
I know
Do
one.
you need me to send it to you?
You should. You should.
I'm not sure.
This is my Carol song. It is 8 seconds long.
Yeah, Page Master reference. I love it.
It's got a very 90s alternative feel to it. I like it. Kalioth for $5. This is my Dwayne song. He cost Disney 8 figures long. The Rock is no cheap acting job. Toy Story is hurting for attention in that Taylor got hitched.
I did not know this was the next super chat. I really did not coordinate that. I promise.
It's they write themselves now. Thank you very much, Kalioth.
I could not believe how well the last Taylor Swift story we did on the Pro Channel. Holy moly, people are interested. Michelle, you may have to become our Taylor Swift correspondent now that people want to know more and more about the air conditioning in the Madison Square Garden.
I can do it.
I really liked how she closed down like the most high traffic area on like the biggest holiday, her wedding. I was like, yep, that's what it's like to be wealthy. Well done.
Did you all hold on a second? Did I hear what I think I heard?
I think I heard that too.
Did I hear? No. Whoa.
It was.
Did I hear Sonic the Hedgehog getting a ring?
You did. That's one of my notifications.
Seriously. We have the same notification sound. I knew.
I was wondering, like, Pro forgot to turn his phone off.
No, and I knew it wasn't me. I knew because it wouldn't have been picked up by the mic. Anyway, Taylor Swift. Yeah, that's a Christian Toto's article he did where he talked about the $21 million in charity that his belief is that was spent to try to calm down the anger, the rage coming from the left, and that opened my eyes. I didn't know. It didn't surprise me, but the left is turning on Taylor Swift because no matter what she does, she's not left enough. She can never be left enough for them. So that was like the chunk of meat, the hunk of meat, the sacrifice that she and Travis Kelce were making while she banned his one outspoken conservative teammate, not allowed to come to the wedding. The one outspoken conservative teammate can't come to the wedding, and still it wasn't enough because some guy came in that was somehow related to ICE in some other way. And
have you guys seen at least what's being reported by Daily Mail and other people of the infidelity clause that she put in the prenup?
Michelle, please tell me what tomorrow's video will be. You and I will be discussing this in a pre-record, I'm sure.
It is rumored. It has been reported that Travis Kelce signed that if he commits infidelity on Taylor, he has to pay her $20 million per infidelity.
Wow, that's amazing. But I would say that he should counter with, I want 25% of proceeds from all albums that are derived from that infidelity.
They should also add to their contract, this is why we are not actually married to just have a contract with each other.
Exactly.
Good Lord, this stuff disgusts me.
I think that's an interesting world where it's like per infidelity, is one not enough to say, get out of here? Different world.
Well, remember Nicole Kidman, it's reported Nicole Kidman had one with Keith Urban that I believe she paid him $10 million a year for every year he did not revert back to drugs and alcohol.
Wow.
A different world, I'm telling you.
Juliet, for y'all, I'm just gonna say this, all you celebrities out there, you just need Jesus. Just Jesus is the answer.
Because if you need a contract like that just to get married, you shouldn't get married.
Yeah. Juliet, for £2, like, subscribe, share. And there's a cheeseburger in there. Man.
Thank you, Juliet.
Thank you, Juliet. Smith and Sons for $2. Thanks, Odin, for geeking out on the numbers. Great.
Made me smile. As soon as you started, I said, yes, doesn't have to be me this time. Somebody else going to take a little heat here, but I'm going to agree with him.
Yep. Bob blah blah for $5. Could Disney be doing it on purpose? Is there value in claiming diluted summer attendance is why we bombed instead of the movies stunk?
I don't think they want. Listen, Josh Tomorrow's in charge of the parks, and he was in charge of the parks. He's now the CEO of the company. I think, Star Wars goes down. Star Wars goes down. Marvel starts to depreciate. Okay. That's not going to all by itself shift the stock dramatically, at least not all at once. The parks and their attendance, that will, especially Disney World, that will shatter the stock. No financial advice being given, but if that starts to look like it's going to make its way into the next earnings report, good Lord, the sky is falling at the House of Mouse.
Yep. Grimlock say, watch Project Hail Mary for 10. Hey, everyone, with shopping today, a lot of the Mando and Grogu toys are already going on clearance. I don't think it did so well.
I'm surprised you still found them.
Overproduced. I'm sure they were overproduced. Long Rua, member for 5 months. I forgot, did we have a fall fizzle? We did.
I can't believe we've removed all those from the clips. I cannot play the fall fizzle. I assumed
I don't know how that happened. Blah, blah, blah for $5. Question for Caro. How do you know when you reach your destination? Mad respect, but you don't seem to be making much progress.
I have a thing that's tracking my steps right now, and we will be hitting at least 30,000 steps, and the destination is winning. That's where we're going. Okay.
Caro, is there money on the line, or does somebody just have to throw you a challenge and that's it? It's on.
That it's on. Yeah.
Oh,
now,
right.
if money's involved, because there's a friend of mine who was like, "I'm gonna fight you," and I was like, "To what end?" And it's like, "We'll make money for charity." And I'm like, "Bring it, let's go."
Bring it, let's
in
go.
the ring. So,
Sam Wolf, member for 22. Bluey's the only show we watch regularly on Disney. It's available on DVD.
That's right. I don't
have it
blame
on my
you.
Plex server.
Yep. Yeah, same here. I might have gotten copies of the versions that released in Australia well before they got onto Disney Plus. So
Keep You Up is a great episode. Seesaw's up there as well. The one where she goes with her the dad or the grandpa to the beach. Great episode.
Almost all of them are great. I think they're all great. The Sign too is fantastic.
I don't know. Dad Baby makes me uncomfortable. So.
But it's just so funny.
It is funny. It's just, if it was 10 years ago,
disturbing.
it would be a little bit different. But now it's like, what are you trying to say? Flying blind on a rocket cycle for 5. So will Magical Girl Jonas replace the Ruffalo fizzle? Is it
Jonas?
It's more of a rizzle than a fizzle.
Jonas, it seems like the folks out there, they have a desire, and I never argue with the audience. It's one of our main focuses here on the Pro Channel.
Yeah, Flying Blind. Sorry about the blank super chat. If you meant to put in a message, just let the mods know. Packing Protons for $5. I felt like last night was Shock Pro and Super Chats night. Let's do it again. Also, is this where we learn about numbers and inflation, bro?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro. Come on, bro. Get inflation.
Yep.
Butts and seats, bro.
Yeah. Packing Protons for $2. Also, Marvin gets angry the later it gets. That's true. If I get a text message about a stream, the odds of that happening go up the later in the evening it is. Packing Protons for $2. Haven't all of Rock's films flopped? Usually The Rock is the least reliable predictor of the box office of a film. So he's unrelated.
He's the beneficiary of the original Moana and Moana 2 making $1 billion, but I don't know. Sometimes you get Jumanji, sometimes you get the Scorpion King. You never know what he's going to bring.
I say Jumanji was successful. I mean, there's no denying that. It was actually better than I thought it was going to. But then you also have films like Rampage, which I don't think did all that well.
I forgot about Rampage. Yeah.
How could you forget about him yelling at a CGI monkey? George!
I really liked him in Jumanji. That was so funny when he had to do the smolder look. I was like, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then his Danny DeVito impression in the second one. I'm actually looking forward to the third. Packing Protons for $5. Remus, get that bluebird off my shoulder. Remus, it's pooping all over the place. WPLJ, mouse calls. Earworm every time I hear the name Remus.
Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Remus. Get that bluebird.
Really? That's I'm going to have to look that up. Packing Protons for $2. Sweden has the most hot blondes. Root for them.
Oh, I see. I see how you're deciding which team.
Yep. They're not
He's got
on
a
the
point.
team.
That could be taken the wrong way, Packing Protons, because when I read that, I was like, maybe I need to look into this men's soccer team in Sweden. They've got all the hot blondes.
I mean, I watch soccer to see guys run around in shorts. I don't know about you.
Surely there's a better way. Surely.
Packing Protons for $5. Taylor's hubby looks like he's having regrets already. Well, I don't know. It wasn't in them. It wasn't an impulse buy. Caffeinated Wolf for $5. Who's this? Speaking of Sonic, Jason Griffith, VA for Sonic and Shadow for nearly a decade. Voicemail, Ripiverse, Heart of Gold Speedster, Zephyr, aka Arcstream. Well, when do I get to meet him? That's
how cool is that? How cool is that? I did not know that. That's amazing.
That's
can't stop, won't stop.
He's really nice too, because Andrew, because that's Andrew. Andrew contacted him. He's like, "Would you be happen to like have time to go and do that?" And he's like, "I'll do it this weekend." And it was like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "How much do you want for it?" And he's like, "I'll do it for free." And I was like, "Oh,
wow." Yeah,
he's just a nice guy. So
okay.
I guess you could say Ripperverse has chaos control now.
DL Racer for $5. It has been really awesome to watch how this group has attracted the most creative minds and seekers of quality over the years.
We're trying. And Mr. Racer, we'll be checking that email later today. Thank you.
Yep. Israel6636 gifted 20 WDW Pro memberships. That's a lot of memberships.
That is wonderful, folks. If you have been turned from gray to green based on this gifting, make sure to say a huge thank you, because it's not every day we get El 20.
Please, sir, may I have more pro memberships?
What?
God bless us, everyone!
Perfect.
Only on the Pro Show do we go from Oliver Twist to Jenna Ortega to Coming Out of Their Shells, the 1991 Ninja Turtles highly successful concert.
I don't know about you, but I was disturbed by the connection between Oliver and Tiny Tim from a completely different movie and story. It's just like, wait, what?
Odin, I think we have the same sense of humor, and it's going to be a problem.
Staccato DDS, however, gifted 50 WDW Pro memberships. That's insane.
Staccato coming through and helping fight the cavities of Hollyweird, the gingivitis of can't win that's been sucking away all of the entertainment from our culture. Thank you, Staccato. The megaphone is all yours.
Every time a membership is gifted, a content creator gets his wings.
Is that gendered language?
We're not at Magic Kingdom, Dad.
What are those?
These are my Spider-Man pajamas.
Let me rephrase that. Why are you wearing those?
Because my He-Man pajamas are in the laundry.
Can I just say that clip hits harder this year than ever before? Why are you wearing your Spider-Man pajamas? Well, because it's going to make $1 billion and He-Man's in the laundry.
Helion for $5. Millions of dollars to fake vows. You are lying before God to pretend a relationship. Surprised Taylor didn't claim exclusivity to song rights.
They got Adam Sandler to do the officiating. That's something, eh?
I just like the way he
Did
says.
he really?
Yeah.
That's how you know it's serious.
I hope he did it with the water boy voice.
Do you take this? Do you take this? Man, be lawfully wedded. My mama said that you should probably say you should say yes.
Have a doobie. Do you have a doobie? Take them.
McGruffle the third. Pro, I know I shouldn't ask you for financial advice on air, so can you ask Jonas how much SpaceX stock should I buy? First of all, it's now SpaceX AI, which
I don't like the name.
Yeah, it saves time if you're saying both companies, but it really is a mouthful. I would recommend buying $5.02 worth.
Yeah, so I would say Pro is waiting. Okay, I can't tell you what to do, but Pro is waiting for that stock to maybe drop a little bit, and then Pro might get in. We'll see. But as a general rule, just as my theory that I live with, I like to invest in lots of companies and not take the risk of a single company. but I can guarantee you I'm looking for ETFs that include SpaceX. That's just pro. Not telling you what to do, but that's my strat.
Mm-hmm. Israel for $2. Is it Mr. and Mrs. Taylor Swift?
How much more is her net worth than his? I mean, it's like astronomical.
Oh yeah, I mean she's worth over $1 billion.
Yeah.
I don't even remember which Kelsey brother it was. So,
Travis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Chef Eddie for $5. We need music videos for Caro's songs about Magical Girl Jonas and Lauren's AI romance. I think Lauren's AI romance is probably the top priority there.
We can do both. What?
That's right. Clearly, Caro can walk and podcast at the same time, Jonas. So
I can walk, I can talk, I can chew bubblegum, I can make songs, I can look. I have a friend over here. Let me just message him.
She's a real girl.
Protons for $10. Tag Jonas and Shell in the Hot Blonde Soccer Fan vid if you need a palate cleanser. As a kid, if a contestant on TPIR wasn't
The Price is Right.
The Hot Blonde always got rooted for. Weren't they on the stage with Bob though?
I always rooted for the little old ladies and little men, who could barely get behind there, to cast the thing. And then we had to wait for a commercial break for them to walk up the steps. And they finally got to Bob, and Bob would say, "Where are you from?" "I'm from Arkansas, Bob. Watch you every single day." And then Plinko happens and everybody, it's like the world was in a good place if Plinko happened for the elderly.
I got to be in the audience for The Price is Right. I didn't get called up for 2
You
episodes.
should have.
I went. And if you see me on the playback, my jaw is just open the entire time, like I'm actually here.
So you didn't get to go on like Aaron Paul did.
Right.
Still one of the funniest videos out there of Aaron Paul.
Detailed level for $2. Swift allowed extra AC units, MSG to beat the heat. Well, how else are you going to get Bob Iger in there? I mean,
I liked that the New York Post went in when Mamdani was giving his speech, telling everybody, you got to have, commie New York has to now have everybody the thermostat at 78. And the New York Post took a photo inside the mayor's mansion or wherever it was he was giving the speech. I don't think it was Gracie, but anyway, wherever he was, City Hall, they took a photo and the thermostat had been set in the 50s because it's not enough to flaunt it. You have to actually suffer because you're so cold, letting everybody know that your boot is on their throat. You have to be so frigid you could grow penguins just to make sure everybody knows this is what corruption looked like.
That's also just incompetent.
59 degrees, I believe, was the temperature.
That's incompetent.
Did you guys see that, Michelle? Did you see that, the 59 degrees on the...
I didn't know it was 58. I thought it was like at least in the 60s, but I knew it was way below what he told everyone else.
Maybe it was 61, the actual temperature. It's hard to keep it down at 59.
So there was
That's
a lot
struggle.
of people in this place, correct?
Yeah, you would assume so.
Okay. Because he does realize that air conditioning does not blow at that temperature, but blows until it reaches a specific temperature, right?
Well, maybe the effort was to keep old people away, because old people, they're annoying to communists because they just stay alive forever. I mean, it's just so frustrating.
Didn't we have like a time when somebody in the government was afraid of gas stoves and was trying to...
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Gas stoves and soda bottles, real problem.
Yeah, I think there's a trend of this. Yeah.
Are we trying to solve the problems of cancer? Nah. Are we trying to solve, the problem of, extending human lifespan? Nah. Are we trying to solve the gangs and the... Nah. Get rid of the soda and stop the gas stoves. That's what we got to do. All right, folks, we got to say goodbye to one of our panelists right now, and it's going to make me very, very sad. Michelle of Force of Light, it's been a great time having you on board. Tell the folks out there why they should be checking out you and your sister over on your YouTube channel, please.
Yeah, well, if you haven't been over to our channel in a while, come check us out. We now have Studio A and Studio B are fully operational, where we do our reactions in the studio that we're watching on a big screen now. So if you're tired of all the crappy movies Hollywood's putting out, you can come watch with us as we watch really good movies for the first time, typically. So go check out my sister and I at Force Flight Entertainment and join us live every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Michelle, I've got a suggestion all of a sudden for your channel.
What is that?
Have you seen Rampage before?
I don't feel that would do well.
Or you could watch The Rundown, which is almost the same movie, just doesn't have an ape in it. Or you could watch, I don't know. There's so
Skyscraper.
Many almost
remember his hit Skyscraper.
I'm telling you, listen, around Moana, you need to release a bunch of Dwayne, like the worst The Rock movies ever made.
I think in Skyscraper...
Are you going to sponsor them?
I might.
A plot point of Skyscraper was that part of his leg was missing. And so he had to pretend like he had like a false leg or partial false leg. And it's really funny seeing him try to like act and like...
He's gonna get an Oscar one day.
I recommend it highly. Skyscraper, yes.
All right, Michelle, we'll catch you real soon. Thank you for stopping by today.
You guys have an awesome rest of your stream.
All right, folks, let's dive into the next story up on the deck here. And what are we talking about? Well, I was going to wait. Jonas and I talked about this. We were going to wait on this story because we got Marty O'Donnell, composer for Halo. We're trying to get him scheduled. He is very busy. Something about running for Congress. I don't know. Get your priorities straight. But he is, we're trying to get him scheduled to come talk about this Xbox thing because it's such a huge deal. This is the biggest example I know of go woke, go broke. But we can't stop anymore. We can't hold this thing back. We got to talk about it. So we'll do one here, and then down the road, we'll go back to Xbox as soon as we get Marty on to talk about that. Folks, get ready because you thought Hollywood was bad. The comeuppance has arrived for the house that once upon a time Halo built. It is the biggest go woke, go broke we've ever seen. And folks, it is obscenely bad for those who once trumpeted, carried the lines of divide, divide, divide. They did not conquer. Newsweek has this one. What Xbox layoffs, studio changes mean for gamers. By Hugh Cameron, the announcement of the most significant restructure in Xbox history promises a drastic change in how the company approaches consoles, game development, and the experiences it delivers to customers. On Monday, the company said it plans to lay off 4,800 employees, including 1,600 immediate reduction at its Xbox division, and focus its efforts on the priorities that will keep Microsoft positioned to deliver for customers in a fast-changing industry. Asha Sharma, who took the helm at Xbox in February, also said 4 of its game development studios would be transitioning to new ownership, resulting in a further 1,600 layoffs. But also, if they're transitioning to new ownership, that means they're selling them. That means that all of those jobs are also leaving the ledger of Microsoft and Xbox. They just don't count as layoffs. Holy cow. I mean, we may be talking about something like 10,000 positions associated with Xbox exiting. Quote, these changes are about a bigger future for Xbox, not a smaller one. The next decade of gaming will be larger, more global, and more creative than anything we've seen before, said Sharma, who's now over Xbox. This year, we'll invest as much in Xbox as we ever have, but we'll invest with greater focus, greater discipline, and greater clarity in service of making Xbox where the world plays and creates. Now, partly what was amazing about this is there was not a single positive story that came out. There was not a single, hey, we're going to do this, or hey, we're going to have this game, or hey, we're announcing, this timeline. This was just total destruction to the woke empire that had been created under Xbox. Daniel Friedman is posting this. One of the people who was laid off. It says, congratulations to Obsidian Games art director Matt Hansen, who reportedly got what he wanted today when Xbox eliminated 32 positions, including his. Daniel says, best of luck in the woods, Matt. And here is the image, folks. It says, Matt, who is hurting plate, spinning cats, at Matt Hansen art. This is back in 2024. So I just wanted to show you this. This is Go Woke, Go Broke. Reminder to black artists out there who are looking for portfolio reviews or job advice. My DMs are open and you will always have my priority, says Matt. We got too many crusty white dudes in this field, says Matt, who is crusty white dude. Let me help you replace me one day. I want to go back to living in the woods. Well, mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. And the woke that always tell you, if you don't like it, don't play it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. And always want to say, hey, all the other people, give up your jobs for those who are oppressed. Now it's being brought to them. All right, Grum's Mark Kern, one of the most important voices in video gaming. Of course, he's the guy who helped lead games like Diablo 2, StarCraft, and World of Warcraft. He says everything wrong in gaming is being made right again. He says, I told you 2 years ago, vote with your wallets, 2 years to stop the spread. Outcome, sweet, sweet victory after victory. Okay, so here we are. Xbox is being decimated. I want to bring in Culture Casino right now. Culture, welcome aboard. If I can bring you in, there you are. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well. It's good to see you all. All
Good
the
to see you,
brilliant
Culture.
minds together. This is good.
Good to see you. The gaming industry is 14 times the size of the theatrical industry, okay? So when we're talking about this with Xbox, and I say this is the biggest go woke, go broke ever, I mean it. And I really do believe that this is go woke, right? Xbox has been as woke as they can be under Microsoft. I don't know that this is going to fix that problem, but I'd love to hear from you guys and girls what you think about this. Is this a start? It's definitely interesting that Grums is saying she's doing everything she should to totally clean this house.
Well, as the clear expert gamer on the panel,
your background is lit in green, Odin. I mean, you must carry us through this segment.
A little bit of my own background on gaming. I do have a lot of like retro systems and play retro games, and the most recent game I am playing Arc Raiders. So I'm clearly a gamer, guys. I am the biggest gamer that you will ever see. But when I am kind of looking at this basically from the outside, because I'm really not, hardcore gamer. I like the Nintendo Switch. I have a Switch 1, Switch 2. I love the Legend of Zelda games. That's kind of, I'm playing through Link Between Worlds right now on 3DS using my emulator. And it's a lot of fun. But when I look at all this stuff kind of just from the outside position, I think to myself, okay, even if they are cleaning house, even if they are, seemingly maybe moving in the right direction, like trying to get rid of all of this kind of like the rot that's like made up their business and their industry, because of the connection with Microsoft, I think that was already a ticking time bomb, in my opinion. And the reason why is because when I look at Xbox, all I can think of is, oh, you mean that game system that you can also just play on your PC? Because Xbox, Microsoft, you can just play the PC version instead, and it basically works the same if memory serves, right? You can play your Xbox games on your PC, I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And so all I can think of is, well, why not just get a PC or, invest in a mini PC, and then you can play all your games, but then also have other functionality that is not just stuck into the Xbox ecosystem itself. So I feel like that integration itself and by its own was already kind of that taking time bomb of, okay, this probably is not going to last that much longer, because eventually people are going to realize of, oh, I don't really need to buy a separate Xbox system to actually play my games and actually do all the things that I want to do. Now, I guess to the general consumer, there's still a lot of value, or at least there was value to it, because, well, I want to have my own separate gaming system that's not the same as my actual computer, and I like to keep those things separate from each other. Convenience is a big thing. Obviously, I understand that to that degree as well. But now that we have, PlayStation moving to a diskless future, Xbox also moving to a diskless future, they're just making their own systems that they're going to be inventing in the future that much less appetizing for consumers to have. Because, again, at least from when I look at it, I say, why would I buy an Xbox when I just have my own computer and my own PC that I can play the games on instead? I don't know. That's just me.
Well, the other part of this that we need to analyze, in addition to that, this is go woke, go broke, because if they had stopped, I mean, Halo now is basically known for wonder what flag Master Chief is going to be decorated in for what social cause this week. I mean, it's just embarrassing. It's just totally embarrassing. And we That's right. That's right. The thing that we need to talk about, though, in addition to that aspect, is AI, because they are wiping out so many of these studios that were failing hard. And I wonder, Jonas, Culture, Carol, I wonder, are these companies now looking at this and saying, well, we can code these games, and the average person can code these games the next year or two. There's no need to have a bunch of blue-haired, purple-haired weirdos running around destroying our brand if we can just end this and bring in prompters instead of coders. Uh-oh. Folks. Jonas. Carol has stepped off the treadmill. She's ready to rock.
It actually turned itself off. It told me to
well,
take a break.
She broke it. She's outrun the treadmill. When you've done that.
I'm just thankful that she was walking and not running, and that happened. Because had it been running and then it's decided to stop working, it would have been a whole new stream.
Yeah, I would have rode straight into the.
When she stopped like that, I thought she has a point to make, and we're all going to stop.
Well, no, so my gaming background is I used to play MMOs a lot. I played like World of Warcraft for 10 years, and for me, and I was a big PvPer. So like if I was in Warsun Gulch and I didn't get 100 kills, it was a slow day, right? That was just what I did. And so when correct me if I'm wrong, but this current person that's running Xbox is also somebody who came from a background where they like specialized in microtransactions, right?
I believe she actually didn't start in video games. I think that she started in AI.
Yeah. Well, I
She used to work for maybe Wayfair before this. So
okay. Okay.
Furniture
Yeah. So because when she got brought on, all the microtransactions started like going up through the roof and whatnot. So it's always been about making more money. And then the other unfortunate thing is, I hate saying this, but a lot of the game developers are kind of like pathetic. And what I mean by that is they have poor work ethic. They don't like being held accountable. And I have my own experience with this because I did work for a game company at one point. And, my biggest headache was getting the game developers to do a very simple task. It was like, I need you to get this done today. It's like, well, I'll get it done today. It's like, well, how long is it going to take you to do it? It's like, oh, it might take me like an hour. It's like, do it right now.
Okay, let me ask you about that, Carol.
Do it.
Because my experience is, and let me see if yours is similar. My experience is that the gaming industry was built by hobbyists and enthusiasts and passionate people who formed these companies in the 90s and the early 2000s and sometimes earlier, but they came at this just insane efforts to make the greatest things, and it was part of something they loved. And then what happened is this industry got flooded with people who just, they want to know, what is the snack bar like in the lobby? And, can I play water polo? I'm kidding on that one. But like, what are the comforts that you're going to bring me if I agree to go work here? And then they complain and they whine and they don't care about the actual game. They don't play that. They want to play Candy Crush, not this stupid FPS game. Did you have that experience where the people who were working that have been hired in the last 10 years, let's say, had a completely different work ethic?
Because and I'm going to blame Blizzard for this, because Blizzard did a really great job of showcasing like all the perks of working there, kind of like what Google did as well. So it was like, you're not just working for a company, but you're also like part of some elite club. Now, granted, Blizzard had its own fun things, like for example, the milking room incident that occurred, which was still to this day the craziest story I've ever heard. But it's like the passion is gone. The writing is weak. I think I've beaten the dead horse enough where I talk about like the dismal state of writers these days, and they don't know how to make a good story, and they're just basically making carbon copies of things that they liked before, but they're doing it really bad. And I was actually talking to one of my friends because he and I are really big into PvP. We can't find a game to play. Like, we can't. It's like there's no new games that are coming out that are interesting us, and all the stuff that is coming out is being made for you to hang out with your friends for maybe a half hour and then go do something else.
Sounds like we're gonna have to make some games.
Yeah, that would be great. But I will say making games is really expensive. I'm gonna
used to be.
I'm sorry if anybody gets this to Eric. Every time Eric talks about making a video game, we try to distract him with something else, right?
You don't want to get Eric with me then, trust me, because I think the price of making games is about to collapse.
Well, because he keeps saying it's like, oh no, making a game is very affordable. I'm like, no, stop, because even if you just want to do it side scroll, you're gonna have to do this, and you have to do these assets, and you're gonna have to put all this together, and it's gonna be about that much. And he's like, well, I think I could get cheaper. I was like, you can, but it won't be very good. So every time somebody talks to Eric about a game, we're kind of like, look, shiny thing, or we like pull the cable out from his computer or something, right? Because we want him to not do that right now. But it's a big investment. And one of the reasons like Blizzard has done so well is because of the player base for it is super passionate. But I will say like that's bled out at this point. Like if you go and walk around World of Warcraft at this point, like I was just wandering around Stormwind because I was like, maybe there's something to do. It's a dating simulator right now. There's people walking around the game, like trying to hook up with each other in an E-style. And it's kind of like, no, I just came here to kill all of you. Like, come on, let's go into the battleground and just, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, we are preparing at Southeast Game Exchange to reveal a brand new game that we've been working on called Zax, which is a puzzle block thing. I'm just letting this auto play right now. But this is the game that we're going to be releasing in the fall, and so I think the time is coming. This, by the way, is just easily the beginning to what we're working on. And this looks very simple. If we started playing it, the graphics will start taking off and doing all kinds of fun stuff. But I think people are going to be able to get into gaming in a much bigger way very, very soon. partly why I want to bring this up. This is so interesting to me. In culture, I know you have a technical expertise in all of this. Grums, back again here. This is something that was predicted with AI, and I'm not trying to take a position, good or bad, on AI. I'm just presenting this to you. There's a way to write games that would be unbelievably efficient. And likewise, it is so unimaginably difficult that nobody would ever attempt to do so. And that is a human being writing directly in assembly language, right? Usually what's happening actually is there's assembly language that the machine actually is reading, and there's like 5 languages of layers of translating to get back down to that for the machine to do what it is that these layers of languages. I don't want to go too far in the weeds, but if you could write an assembly language, you could do things that nobody else could ever imagine. AI is now writing NES games, okay? So we're still at NES, although I know Fable can write in regular code at the N64 level in a single prompt, but AI is now writing NES games in assembly language. That's bonkers what is now going to be possible. And I think this, surely with Asha coming into Xbox and having AI expertise, surely she's saying the future is not going to be the same. And we're not going to hold on to a bunch of do-nothings as the era shifts. Like, this is the chance. This is the moment. We're going to get in people who have passion for games, and they can prompt away, and just make great stuff for us.
Well, I would suggest that everybody recognize that they overhired at the studios a long time ago. And there were too many game studios, and Xbox went about acquiring too many of them without any passion for building the games. I would say that is fundamentally where we started. When it comes to the actual technical aspects, when you're talking about AI, you certainly could do that even with Grok Build right now, if you've played around with that one any little bit. But I would never suggest that you don't need people to do this. In fact, I think Ford Motor Company recently discovered that their AI is not capable of building cars. So they had to bring back all the engineers they fired. But this is where the positive side of the equation is. Now, whether intentionally or not, and I would never assign intention to anything coming out of Xbox, getting rid of the 2,300 people just in the gaming studio stuff will allow them to rehire people who are qualified to build games like you're describing, or maybe, get some people with actual passion to build games, involved in the market. I think all of that would be wonderful. But it does take humans to build good games. I'm sorry. You need somebody who has the ability to create a story, like Caro, who can, develop the lore that's required to support anything that has some kind of narrative gameplay. That's what you need. And if you're trying to build a big game, you need a narrative, which is why it's taken Rockstar a better part of a little more than a decade to give us another GTA 6. GTA 5's been successful through 3 console generations. And now we've been waiting, I think, 13 years. Am I wrong? It's longer. Maybe it's longer than that. By the time we get the new GTA 6. So because it's narratively important to get everything right. You need to honor everything that came before, or you're going to be called out on the table for not living up to what this used to be. And you want to make sure you get everything right with your new version of Vice City. I think that gamers notice those things, and I think the studios realize that gamers notice those things. So, and that includes even the voice acting. You have to get all these parts right, and they have to be human. And all that's driven by story. And believe it or not, the computers aren't so good with that. And that's otherwise it just sounds like you're repeating yourself. That's the only problem with AI and story writing. But
Star Wars: The Old Republic was great. When it first came out, multiple storylines. You could be good, be evil. You had voice acting for pretty much everything. And the replayability is what made that game so strong, because you could play every character, and then you could play good, you could be gray, you could be evil, you could do all these different things, right? And people still play that game. Graphics are a little wonky. Anytime you guys want to update that would be cool. But I mean, it still has an active player base right now.
Jonas, we've been tracking what's going on with Xbox. I want to give you the opportunity, because I don't know what we can say and what we can't say yet. I'll hand that to you. Your thoughts on what we're seeing over there and where this might be going.
You know, there's so many rumors going around about what is actually going to be happening here with Xbox. The 3,200 people that are being laid off are separate from the studios that are being sold, with several large studios being sold. This is on top of the layoffs that have already occurred. So it is from an economic standpoint, from a job standpoint, it's a bloodbath. They've been a company that has basically had unlimited money as far as game development goes, because Microsoft is a $1 trillion company. It's a huge company. So they've been able to function on the idea that they would be claiming all of this space and they would own the market. This is something where, you know, the fact that Xbox is not the only thing that Microsoft does made them into this just blob that was going to eat the entire industry. And now you look at everything that they've absorbed, and there are rumors out there that maybe I don't know what this does to 343, now Halo Studios, but there's a rumor that it described as a crazy rumor.
This is what I wasn't sure we could say yet. Are we allowed to say this?
This has not come from any. This is something I've read outside of here. This does not come from anyone that you may have seen me associated with.
Okay, good. Disclaimer out there. Can we say it?
Right. Jez Corden has said that he heard a rumor that Halo is going to go to Activision and be handled by Activision, which I'm not going to lie, that's probably an improvement from the current situation that they're under.
So 343, now Halo Studios, one of the most woke experiments of all time to completely fill it with a bunch of folks who don't care about gaming. They're just social agendists, and the idea that it's so bad that they would shut that whole thing down and say, Activision, you're doing Call of Duty one year and Halo the next. That to me is one of the biggest go woke, go brokes ever we've ever seen.
And I'm not up on current Halo, but most of the complaints we see from the Halo audience appear to be about the codification of Halo, like that all of these things start to just kind of merge into the same thing with different skins. And even in those different places, sometimes you can get the skins from the other games. So it just really starts to blur the lines here until corporations are not good at saying this differentiates our product, so we will not cross this line. It seems like the more corporate that you make something, the less what you make is going to be distinct. Disney did something similar with Pixar and Lucasfilm and Marvel until everything needs to be in some form the same as something else in the market. And right now, I think, you look at whatever happened with Xbox Game Pass. It's supposed to have 77 million subscribers right now. It has 30 million subscribers, and it destroyed most of the industry on the way down. So I think in free games or whatever on a monthly subscription, that's something that sounds great. It also sounded like they were going after what Netflix had. Oh man, those stupid Covenant with the weird purple plumes.
You leave the jackals alone. Keep talking, sir.
The jackals should not look like that. This is something where they're about to do Halo 1 for what, the fourth or fifth time at this point, and
because they can't do anything else. They just keep updating the graphics.
Right.
These are the same people, Jonas.
They've ruined Sergeant Johnson in the trailer. He plays like a caricature of whoever the original person was.
This is the same company that released the menu. They wanted people to watch like 4 minutes of the menu and brag about how long it took. And a guy made a better menu in one day and posted it and owned them.
Yeah. This is a copy of a copy of a copy, and at some point you have to do something original.
They can't.
If all they are stewards of someone else's work, then the audience eventually loses interest. There's no reason that a Halo game should be a question mark here. This should be one of the biggest franchises right now, and it's not. It's the same thing. Insomniac Games covers probably 80% of all sales for PlayStation right now, based off of some of the numbers that keep getting batted around on X, because they have Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and then the rest of that system. I'm wondering, okay, they own Bungie right now. Speaking of which, and maybe one of Bungie's founders might have been laid off in the most recent round of Bungie layoffs here. So all of the people who actually were responsible for creating these things that they are milking, for lack of a better term, they're milking a dead cow. they're being shown the door, while the people who have achieved nothing are being given positions higher up in the industry.
Well, folks, that's where we will leave it for now. It's the biggest go woke, go broke, perhaps in the history of entertainment. Xbox is the first to fall. Now, we think it'll come back and, it's not going to go away, but it's the first to fall. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of jobs wiped out by woke. The question is, how long? If this can happen to Microsoft, it can happen to Pixar. It can happen to the Disney studios. It can happen to all of Hollywood. And maybe now we're all just watching and waiting to see, when is that going to land? And ladies and gentlemen, our good friend Odin, well, he's got to get out of that green room and he's got to go see the blue skies. Odin, tell us, what do you got coming up and why should people be checking out your channel, sir?
Yeah, you can find me over at OMB Reviews on YouTube. Also follow me over on X for box office coverage. You can check out my website, ombReviews.com. And you can also, on my website, see I recently, with AI, was able to make a box office calculator. So if you wanted to do your own calculations on movies and what the break-even point is or things like that, you can check that out for more. And I did want to add just one more thing to that last story, because one thing that's maybe a bit of a deeper cut that I think is the bigger problem long-term, not just for that studio, but for pretty much all studios in the creative space, is, I've been a teacher for the last over 10 years now and teaching, teenagers in high school. And one of the things, especially with the dawn of AI, especially over the last 5 years with becoming that much more prominent, we are seeing a complete killing of creativity amongst the youth that are growing up right now. But even more importantly is that we are seeing a loss of work ethic. And I think that the long-term consequences of not just COVID, but also of our embracement of AI and of technology in classrooms and all these other things that kind of tie into it, I think it means that basically a lot of these companies have missed their window of being able to really take advantage of the creative minds and the capacities and the abilities that people once had. So yeah, don't be surprised if a lot of these companies start to kind of go under, not because necessarily they lack, not even just lack creativity, but I think work ethic. And I think that was kind of something that kind of Caro was able to touch upon a little bit. Was it just like, oh yeah, I'll get to it, but the work ethic is just not there, and it's becoming worse and worse and worse as time goes on. So I just wanted to add that point.
Well, Odin, now you've done it. Now you've got yourself stuck a little bit longer, because I'm going to ask you about that. So you're a high school teacher, right?
Yes.
Okay. So my thought is that with AI, if we're doing it the right way in schools, kids should be creating all kinds of crazy stuff because they have the tools now. Seems like it's going the opposite way. And I don't know how much of it's the pandemic. I don't know how much of it is the culture. I don't know how much of it is entitlement. And I don't know how much of it is AI. But what have you been witnessing in terms of this next generation coming up? Because remember, what are we fighting for every day on this show? Why do I do this? It's because we've been telling terrible stories to kids and raising them on broken myths and heroes that don't actually try to get better, but demand the world change to suit their needs instead. Odin, what are you seeing with young people today?
The problem really is that we have these amazing tools for sure. And that's why, I can use a tool like AI and I can create great benefit from it, right? Because and this really was what it comes down to. Our kids today are lacking the foundational principles of research, the foundational principles of problem solving. And because they lack those most basic skills, when they're thrown, it's like when you're being thrown into like an advanced level course and you got this stuff now that can do all the work for you. Well, instead of it being an assistant, a tool, right, to help you build things, now instead it's a replacement for their minds. It's now, I could figure this out, and I could even have AI walk me through how to solve the problem. But no, I'd rather just, and this is again human nature, but also something that kind of goes into the giving something too advanced to someone who's not got the basic principles first of, I'm just going to get the answer. I just want the quick answer, quick solution to everything. Yep. I don't want to think through anything and figure it out for myself.
So the problem with that,
I wanted to add to that because I used to be a teacher too. So like high five. So I did middle school, high school, and I worked in special education. So I worked in a slightly different spot. But even then, I saw that we were stifling creativity within children very early because we tell them to sit down and we want them to have a particular answer, not an answer that they came to on their own, but we wanted them to have the answer that the curriculum needed them to have.
Factory settings.
Yeah, and it starts at kindergarten because like take some kids at different age groups and have them look at some clouds and ask what they see. Kids at like kindergarten comes up with all kinds of things, rabbits, dragons, unicorns, whatever. And then the older you get, they just say it's a cloud. And maybe they'll get into like it's a nimbulous cloud, right? But they're not creative anymore. And then we try to hammer in how to do scientific thinking, right? But then because that actually requires so much cognitive work, they don't want to do it anymore. At one point, they get tired. And I can't be upset with kids not wanting to be in school because we tell them to sit down for 8 hours and mentally take in a whole bunch of information that they later have to regurgitate. And then they don't know how to apply it. So like when I was teaching math, I had a part on my whiteboard. And anytime we had to do anything that involved algebra on the whiteboard, it would be like, this is how what you're learning today applies in real life, right? So for example, parabolas, right? If you don't remember what a parabola is, that's okay. It's the little curvy line that you see on a graph, right? And most of the time you have to do an equation to get a certain kind of curve. Maybe it makes an S, maybe you're creative and it can make a smiley face. Good on you. I'm very proud of you for using the calculator that way. But I would have to explain to the kids that the parabolas is what they use to design freeways and why they why they have certain speed limits at turns and everything like that. But if you don't give them that connection, then they don't know why they're learning it and they don't know why it applies to them. Like when I told them that they used a quadratic equation in order to decide when lights go, red or green, right? They were kind of like, wait, there's a math equation that does that? I was like, no, Cupcake, there's a guy in a room hitting a button.
Right. So here's my worry about the AI thing with kids. Okay. It's going to be, it's going to be very different than I think what most people's take is. Well, I worry that AI is about to create a serious have versus have not. And it's based on meritocracy because somebody who spends the time to invest to understand how something works, if you give them AI, they can make things at 100 times the level they could before. Okay. So because I understand game development, if you give me AI, I know all the steps, I know the process, and AI and I can sit down and just start boom, 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 boom. Okay. Our good friend out there, Josh Dawes, maybe he's listening right now. Josh Dawes, he gets filmmaking. He understands it. You give him AI, he starts, doing all of the storyboarding, and he's got these programs that he's custom building to make the storyboard. And suddenly you got Pixar level stuff. The problem is you have to know what you're doing to lead the AI through that. So if you know that, like if you came through at a time, or if you still have the oomph to get at it and understand these things, you can work with AI as your team, right? As your employees, and you're 100 times more capable. But if you came up thinking that AI will do it all for me, you're less than the average worker who was 5 years ago because you don't understand any of this. You just like, why, when I press the button, doesn't it do the same thing it does for these other people? And that's going to create a bifurcated society in terms of who can do what and who cannot. And that's a danger.
Well, it's the same problem with education. And again, since we have two educators sitting near me, I'll just say this. Unfortunately, the current education teaches kids what to think, not how to think. So they don't have a structure from which to learn. A lot of the try and fail opportunities in life are removed from them. And and again, as you said, they regurgitate information instead of thinking deeply about it and problem solving. They're incapable of solving problems. They don't approach life the way we did, 35, 40 years ago, back when I was in school. But again, education slowly devolved since the 1950s into what will create the better workforce rather than what will create the better human. We abandoned that concept a long time.
I like better humans. All right, Odin, I got to let you go because you're sitting there thinking to yourself, boy, should have just got out while I had the chance. All right, Odin.
Well, also, there was a super chat that just came in that was like, if Odin's still there, to answer it. Yeah. So should boys or girls be taught separately? I when it comes to that, both ways have their pluses and minuses. And so there is no one single answer to it, because I know that from my experience, I taught at an all boys school, and for my first year's teaching, that was terrible. Because at an all-boys school, they can smell blood in the water.
Oh, yeah.
And it was awful that first year.
Was that middle school?
Any high school. So
Okay.
any first year teacher will always tell you, almost at any level, that first year is one of the worst years that you'll ever go through, and then it gets better slowly over time. But it was a bloodbath that first year for me. Anyway, so a lot of times gone since then, and things are a lot better. So, but when it comes down to it, I've had a lot more success with co-ed classes at the school I now teach at versus at the all-boys school I was. But I also remember I went to an all-boys school, and it was a very good education, and it was a very well-structured system, and it went very well. So both of those systems can work. It just depends on how is it being implemented, and do you have the structures in place, especially when it comes to discipline, that can actually keep people kind of like, I hate to say it this way, but to keep them in line, because if you don't have a good disciplinary system, it's going to be bad no matter what system you have. So,
well, I always like, I think a mix, not so, it's not a binary thing. There can be times when it needs to be all boys and all girls and that kind of thing. The plus and minus, of course, is if you separate boys and girls all the time, they don't know how to interact with each other when it's time. And then you get all kinds of inappropriate behaviors, or they're kind of
that in society today, do we?
Right, or they're like infants. But the other thing is, it's good to have them separated at times, because Lord knows seventh grader boys, what are they doing instead of algebra? They're sitting there with their pencil, with boobs, like they can't play. And the girls are attracted to these guys that you're looking at and you're like, you smell bad, you're covered in acne. Like, how in the world? But hey, the human race is made to procreate at some point. So, Interesting times. But anyway, yeah.
All right.
Peace later, out. Odin.
Bye.
Bye, Odin.
Jonas, are you going to try to escape? Or are you going to read some super chats for us, buddy?
I'm here. All I'll say is that homeschooling makes separating the boys from girls pretty difficult, though.
Let's do it.
Alberta's Magnus for 5. Air conditioning is like food. Not everyone gets it. Not me.
Wow.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. Home run.
And freedom. Next up off after that one, eh?
Yikes. Just J10 for $5. Hey, Carol, the magical girl Jonas song needs Wilton dancing in it wearing a wig and dress. Maybe give him wings to annoy Marv.
Maybe he can be like your magical talking creature. Yeah.
Like a cat creature. Where
Love and sunshine and rainbows. I don't know. Something happened. But we haven't heard from just...
That's supposed to be there.
You shifted it around. You're getting the hang of it, Jonas. That's right. It's all about the aesthetics. And Jay, we need you on the screen.
The letter of the day is J. J. Yeah.
I love that one.
Chris Dickerson for 5. The success finish line is when Sweet Baby Inc. shutters. They're attached to too many things that are already profitable in spite of them. So
one thing, I did talk to somebody who works at a different game studio, and he told me an interesting thought, which was studios that were already going to go in the way of Sweet Baby Inc. were already heading there. They're just getting like affirmation. So it was...
I agree with that.
Yeah, I was kind of like, oh, so I can't completely blame them for making games incompetent, but you're definitely not off the hook.
Yep. WJB Daily for $2. The chat wants to hear the best 8 to 10 second song on the web.
Jonas, what is one of the things we say here on the channel? Who do we not fight with?
The audience.
This is my Carol song. It is 8 seconds long.
Makes me want to watch The Page Master.
Yeah.
Caveat Ties for $2. Great panel. Bearded sages with a feminine touch. There she is. Detailed Devil for $5. I created text editor in college. It prevented user error, but ironically got low grade because professor found source code hard to read and with poor documentation.
You know, some of our professors out there, they don't have a lot of I don't know, insight into the future. Culture, to jump off of this though, you want to share briefly, you've actually been using AI to build your own software now because you want to own your own software. Is that right?
Yeah. So right now I'm working on a cross between a video editor and a photo editor, basically incorporating the best of all worlds so that I can edit and produce thumbnails faster.
So are you gonna so if you're making Premiere and Photoshop in the same thing, what are we, is this Culture Shop? What are we going to call this?
I don't know. Because I'm not using that. I'm using GIMP and Hit Film as the two baselines. Although I would if I could get again access to my Pro Studio, the stuff I used to do, Final Cut Pro Studio.
I mean, you know where I'm at. You can come over to Pro Studio anytime, buddy. I'll let you in.
No. It's the Apple software.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, for professional film editing. But no, I would, like I said, look, you can use a lot of free things. DaVinci Resolve is fantastic, but I'm trying to create a keyframe based editor that I'm very comfortable in editing in, that still allows for massive loads of compositing shots.
I think it's going to be cool that in a year, and probably less, but in a year, the normies may get to this point where it's like, hey, ChatGPT, Grok, whatever you are, make me a spreadsheet software, because I'm sick and tired of paying $40 a month to whoever. Boop, there's your spreadsheet. There's your Culture Excel or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yep. I think you should call the suite Culture Shock, personally.
Oh, there.
Packing protons for $50 American dollars. School needs to be reworked from the ground up. 1 through 6 can stay the same, but junior through high school needs to be totally redone. Find where a kid's interest is and focus on that. Encourage creativity. Learn a craft, something useful for life.
Yes. Look, the minute they got rid of music programs and practical trade programs, things like auto shop and wood shop and and metal shop, we were already headed down the wrong road.
They put those in special charter schools. That's what they did, where you have to pay a premium to go there. Because I used to have there was one, I won't say what it is, so don't come for me. But there was one that was down the school from my high school, and they didn't want to outright say it, but they didn't want anybody that had an IEP in their curriculum, because they would struggle and it would bring down like their rankings and whatnot. So what I used to do is I used to tell the parents to go and have their kids enroll there first, and then once everything was finalized, then I would send the IEP over afterwards.
Smart.
Because they can't legally do it. But but they would find some other reason. So they got really used to seeing my name on that paperwork.
Well, look, in argument for having both boys and girls in the same classroom, I'll just say it gives you an opportunity at a young age to learn the difference between male thinking and female thinking, emotional thinking and logical thinking, because the approach is helpful. And again, we need to teach the kids how to not what to think, but how to think. That's the most important learning process we're skipping.
Yeah, I know, like my school did have like a thing where they tried to separate the boys and the girls for a little while, but the reason they did it wasn't for any reason that we think. It was because my principal wanted to base like her thesis on it, so we were like her guinea pigs, right? But she did that, and the one thing that we dealt with the most was just the boys and girls asking why they couldn't be with each other. It was like, look, it's just for 1 hour a day. It's like, yeah, but I don't think it's fair. We should be allowed to sit with each other. It's like, it's not about what's fair. Just, can you do the math? Like, can you please find X on this thing? It's like, well, I think we should sit with boys. Like, they become so fixated on what they can't have that they're not focusing on what they need to do. That was the issue.
The troubles of a free society. Goodness.
But I tell you, folks, the troubles, they're not hovering over us as long as people like Packing Protons have our backs. Also,
here.
Jonas, as we continue on, numbers a little wonky on YouTube. I'm not sure they're updating, but folks, we've got we're moving on our way up to 900 people watching right now, and want to thank each and every one of you for being here. It's a pleasure. It's an honor.
Yeah, what's up with those numbers on YouTube?
It's bizarre. I don't know. They kind of got frozen, and they're not matching up with StreamYard. It's bizarre. Anyway.
Yep. DL Racer for $10. Can I invite the chat to participate in my LinkedIn poll? The LinkedIn chat aren't. I am trying to study the effects of gradual degradation of news truthfulness. Share.
Go ahead, put it out there in the chat. They'll
If somebody that's a mod can approve that, that's fine.
Sure.
KB Hugs for $5, which Odin responded to it. We never read it. If Odin is still there for the panel or not, should boys and girls be taught separately and differently for their best results? Why or why not?
No, we did get that one.
Women should be taught home economics, and men should be taught haberdashery.
I see. Jonas wanted to make that joke. That's why we read it.
I think we should be taught animal husbandry, but that's
he's been sitting on haberdashery for 30 minutes now.
They teach that in Mississippi. Patrick Ganaway for $5. I blame the participation.
Did you just insult our Mississippian viewers, Jonas? I can't believe you're going to listen.
Brett Favre
insult them. They know the animal husbandry is a tradition in the United
Last
States.
week we said we need our numbers up in Biloxi, and here you go, ruining everything again.
Brett Favre's going to hate us. Brett Favre's going to hate us now. Thanks for that.
Is he from Mississippi?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Patrick Anaway for 5. I blame the participation trophy set mindset for the
Oh, yeah.
current crop of mushhead kids. Here's the thing: the kids. I've never met a child who values their participation trophies. I received one time, and I literally knew I didn't win. Why did I get a trophy? It's just another knick-knack to sit on
Trinket.
your shelf. And you know what generation really likes trinkets? The boomers.
Mm-hmm. I have a funny story. Do you want to hear it real quick?
Please.
Funny story.
Okay, so I've worked at a couple of charter schools. One of them was for when children had disabilities that exceeded what the school was able to, so they would go to a different school where we had more staff and blah 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 blah. And we had a U shape, and I was on the high school side, right? And there was a girl on the elementary side, and she was the Sunshine Committee, which always starts everything out really well. And so she came over.
Sunshine.
And so she came over and she said, "So it's gonna be the end of the year, and we need to get the awards ready. Can you go ahead and like send me a list of awards for your boys?" Because my class was all boys. We could not have girls in my class at all. And I was sitting there and I was like, "Awards for what?" And it's like, "Yeah, whatever they're good at." And I was like looking at them and looking at her, and I was like, "Sure." Right. So naturally things happened and I forgot to do it. And so she came back and she was kind of like, "I was just wondering, like, where are you with the award thing?" I was like, "You know what? It slipped my mind. I'm sorry. I had to like restrain one boy yesterday, and the other day another kid tried to kill the other one. And, I didn't have time to get to it." And she said,
Her
"Well,
awards
what
were
do
like hand strength, grip strength.
so my school was a restraint school, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So we had mats and sometimes we had to hold the boys down and things like that.
Right. Is that because this was a school that was specifically for special ed, or is that because, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So, and I was the woman in the hallway because the room next to me did have a girl in there. So when they had to restrain her, I would have to go out and restrain her because it had
Sure.
the same restraint.
Yep.
Anyway, moving on. So, we get closer to the end of the year and she comes in super passive aggressive. She's like, "Everybody has done it but you." And I was just wondering if you're going to get around to it. And I was like, "Cupcake, I'm going to give it to you today." All right. Right. Just don't even worry about it. So I go and I make my awards and I put them in a folder and I give them to her. She's like, "Finally, thank you for getting around to it." And I was like, "Oh, you're welcome. Have a good day." Right. And I left. So she didn't even read what I wrote.
Uh-oh.
She didn't read what I wrote. And so here's an example. So she comes up and she's kind of like, so my classroom is called Miss T because my last name actually starts with a T. And I used to make Mr. T jokes all the time. Made my boys super happy.
Pity the fool. Go ahead.
Yeah. So she comes up and she's like, "And for Miss T's class, we have Timothy, and Timothy's award is best napper." Right. And so Timothy used to just fall asleep in my class like all the time.
This is the moment she knew she had made a mistake.
Yeah. But Timothy, last freaking Timothy, he was like, "I am the snapper." And he like ran up to get his award. And she gave me such a nasty ass look. And I was like, "You gotta finish reading them."
You're like this is just beginning, baby.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Did she say, "And we'll come back to Miss T's awards later"?
No, she had to keep going. She had to keep going. Of course, like my principal was like standing behind her like this thing entire time.
All right, I got a great story after these super chats. Jonas, what else we got, buddy?
Blah 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 has gifted 50.
Wowza! Take that, YouTube, and your busted numbers for today. Blah 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 is here to save the day. Thank you, blah blah blah. Way to lift us up. You get to drink from the fire hose.
Oh, Joe Miller, you just found the marble in the oatmeal. You're a lucky, lucky, lucky little boy, because you know why? You get to drink from the fire hose! Okay, you ready? Open wide!
At least that's what I hear.
Wait, what? Let's go!
Jabba, right?
Oh no! It's a Sarlacc!
Star Wars Outlaws pre-order available now.
Guys, this is one of, if not my most anticipated game of the year. Anything that's got me going pew, 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 sign me up.
I gotta say, the concept of this is enough for me to go, I might even pre-order this.
And yet again, friends, blah, 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 blah has released the shills.
I think there's a little bit of a Stockholm effect on that clip. I used to hate that clip. Like you would play it and I would mock it, and now I'm waiting for that girl to say pew 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 pew.
Sign me up.
Exactly. Packing protons for $2. Caro, some treadmills will auto stop about 90 minutes.
They will. My engine is still cooling down. That's why.
I just had one of my walking pads get a no recall notice saying China is refusing to recall it, but we're letting you know that they catch fire.
My friend actually has one of those treadmills. He just returned it. I had a treadmill that I actually burned the engine out on because I ran 10 miles on it. And when the repair guy came to swap out the engine, he was kind of like, usually people just put their laundry on this. They don't actually use it. And I was like, okay, cool, but can you fix it?
Please fix the thing. Fix my laundry line.
I want to go back to running.
Albertus Magnus for $10. I blame John Dewey for schools. His program was to purposely teach children not to think so they can be easily instructed to become reliable socialist voters.
Exactly.
Is he the decimal system guy?
The Dewey Decimal?
Yeah. Is that him?
The way do you find all books in the library?
I hate
He
him.
sounds like a fat guy to me, but whatever.
I know it came from like when they were trying to get like the plebs to like get educated, and they had an assembly line where the teachers would just like go through like row of students and like kind of instruct them. But just like most things, like when it's something that plebs are really good at doing, like nobility is like, why don't we do that as well? So like colleges used to just be a trade thing, and then nobility started going to colleges, and now colleges apparently are some kind of like special clubhouse that we go into debt for.
I hate that. Yep. There's nothing like the degree program inflation that came from the government's funding education, secondary education. Packing protons for $2. Culture's AI programming place needs to be a channel. It already is out there. It's auto running on its own, uploads on its own. We check in on it every now and then.
Oh, the Lord.
In 5 years, we're going to be tuning into that garden place, and Culture's going to have his own Optimus robot, hoeing the dirt for him, and he's going to be walking it through, saying, all right, there's a happy little seed, and put the happy little dirt on top, and it's going to say, this does not compute. There are no feelings in the dirt. No, it's a happy little mound.
Oh, what's going to be so funny is watching old people argue with their robots on how to do the farming. That's not how you do it.
My dad said he can't wait until, the robot's outside and it's slowly pecking on the glass on the window, like, please let me in, like a sad puppy. It's gonna be this freakiest, scariest thing ever.
Christian Correjo for $2. What are you guys using to build your software? I'm doing mine in Post-it notes. So far, I haven't gotten it to compile.
So we're doing an all-in everything. It changes week to week, month to month. There's a lot of Codex. There's a lot of Claude. Some in just plain ChatGPT. Cursor / Grok build is about to be. I think
Grok build is going to be
getting to the frontier. Yeah.
I think Grok build's probably the future until Claude, Anthropic fights back. We'll see.
Yeah, the challenge really no longer is going to be coding. It's going to be packaging the code with whatever next level up that you do that,
and using your tokens wisely.
Yep. Same in the arcade.
Detailed Devil for $5 pro. When I write of Jedi Maggie, sworn in May the 4th, 1979, Thatcher, heart plus brains. Can you see heart and brain emojis? Mama Bear Maggie saved Brits from selves.
Yeah.
I do believe it was like the entire coal workers union was like in the if not in the 100,000s, that the same amount of coal was produced by 3,000 after they busted the unions over there,
Yeah, and I thought that Margaret Thatcher was done very badly in that The Crown, was that the name of the TV show? They worked really hard to make her be just, horribly portrayed, and then create this huge rift between her and the Queen. So, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. They want to make sure that you believe anybody who is not part of the far, 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 far left that the left believes in, you're going to be portrayed as a dummy, or worse, just completely canceled and erased from history should they get the chance.
Mm-hmm. Well, they love Reagan so much, right? KB Hugs for $2. Doggy. Okay, I'm better now. Dog's name?
If you're talking about mine, that was probably Jinx.
Jinx, eh?
Yeah.
Does that come from your time playing a certain game, maybe?
No, that comes from, so we adopted her from a kennel. She was in kennel 13, and they had her go up for adoption on Friday the 13th. And then when we adopted her, it was on a full moon. So when we were in the car trying to figure out what to name her, we were like, Jinx. I think Jinx is the name to go. And we were like, yeah, Jinx is the name to go.
There you go. Hey, Jonas, could you reread that super chat though? When I saw it, I read it in Jed Clampett's voice. Could you give us one of those, please?
Well, I mean, I have a general remembrance of what Buddy Ebsen sounded like, but I don't know.
Doggy. That's what I had in my head.
I can't do that today. Sorry.
Wee doggy.
I'm still in vocal recovery after shouting America at the top of my lungs.
America.
America. America.
Every time I gotta say fireworks were amazing. And the names on the sides of the boxes when you start getting the big ones are like ridiculous, like Washington Wallop. And one was Boys to Men, the end of the road.
And remember, folks, if you have in your state still those fireworks tents up, they're probably like 80% off today. Go out there and get some fireworks and keep all your fingers and toes.
Why do you think I'm trying to get off this show right now? Come on.
Yay!
Packing Protons for 5. Breaking AI actor Tilly Norwood lands first feature. I'm just going to recommend Tilly say no to all those crazy scenes that they're going to want you to do in Hollywood, because once you do that, there's no going back.
So Packing, I hate to be the rain on the parade, but this is one of those, the trades are telling this story. It's fake. If you'll look at the production company, you'll see this is like two guys in their basement. They just want people to be enraged that there's an AI celebrity. This has been a psyop from the beginning. This one's still a psyop.
Yeah, but let me just defend Tilly real quickly. At least she's not going to say dumb things on a press junket.
Listen.
Well, not unplanned dumb things.
Let's see how long until that Amelia is acting.
Amelia should be acting already. She's great. I love her.
Just J10 member for 28 months. I think students need more PE and learn cooking. Yeah.
And I would say too that young men, especially if you tell them to shut up and sit down for 8 hours, it's no surprise that they're not going to thrive in that kind of environment. I don't think it's good for ladies either, but I think it's especially damaging for young boys who need to get up and move and be kinetic.
There's a school, they made it for working with children that were diagnosed with autism, and they found that what worked, surprisingly, it works really well. But what they used to do is they used to have these kids that would come out and actually do farm work. So they would take care of like chickens, animals, horses, and do all the outside stuff.
And learn empathy too. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they would spend the morning, so they would it's basically like all day recess, right? But they would spend the morning doing all of that. And then in the afternoon when they're tired, right, physically tired, so they don't have all that pent up energy, then they would work on the academic stuff. And then they would switch the classes out. They would have them in rotation. So you're not doing math every day. You're doing like math like Tuesday, Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4-H was a early morning class. It was an A period. So you could be part of the 4-H program at my high school, and you could get your energy out real quickly.
Yeah, I would say taking care of animals. I've said this before. Watch how somebody treats animals, because animals can't talk. You will find out what to really think about that person and what they might be like in private. So pay close attention to that. But taking care of animals, it helps you learn empathic skills. And it turns out, folks, you may be really great at math or science, but if you're a terrible, awful person, the schools have failed you when you grow up, because you'll be a really wonderful inmate who's great at math and science. And that's no good to anybody. So learning how to be a great citizen, a great neighbor, an empathic person who cares, highly in regard, I would say, going forward.
Mm-hmm. Christian Coriejo for $10. My dream AI program is one where I can upload my own characters, designs, scripts, and storyboards in order, then have them animate in any art style. Unfortunately, AI prompting still goes over my head. But what you've described is not impossible.
No, you can do it.
It's already happening.
Yeah, I think you can do it right now.
Yep.
So.
Packing Protons for $2. It's the Sarlacc guy. Looks like Marv.
It's a Sarlacc.
I greatly admire the fist sniffer.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be an influencer, you can't act that way, because nobody does. That doesn't listen. When we were sitting there watching the Halo video, did any of us go, "That's a jackal. That's a needler"? I'm not gonna lie. I might have to go play some Master Chief. Like, it's so obvious. It's so obvious. Quit. Acting classes. Acting.
Plus, when everything's available, nothing is new, right? Blah, blah, blah for $5. For the record, John Dewey, the famous philosopher and educator, and the Dewey Decimal System are completely unrelated. Well, I hate the second guy more than John Dewey, the famous philosopher and educator.
John Dewey was a famous philosopher and a progressive thinker. He was a Marxist pusher of the school we don't like very much in Germany.
see, maybe I could go either way on this one, you know.
I still hold that they're third cousins. I hold their third cousins twice removed and therefore somewhat related.
Yep. There's nothing like people who think that they know better than everybody. Packing protons for $2. Pew Pew Girl, only one that looks normal. Who wants to be normal?
Sign me up.
All right, so I told you I'd tell a funny story when we got done with the super chats. This is a funny one. Jonas, I have, I try not to tell family stories, because nobody in your family wants you to get online and be like, by the way, everybody, here's what they're doing. But this is too fun. So I have a niece, and she is of the age that this story makes sense. Okay, so don't picture in your head a 20-year-old niece. That won't make sense here. So the niece is just getting into soccer, okay, and learning how to play soccer with little kids. And she's also learning how to spell and write and read and all those things that you need in school, right? So she had the bright idea, because all the little girls in soccer are they do little face paint and they write cute little things in their arms and that kind of stuff. So she wanted to write the word turbo on her arm. Turbo, okay? Maybe she watched Wreck-It Ralph or something.
Mm-hmm.
Accidentally flipped the B into a D, Jonas. And no parent noticed this until she was out there running around with turdo on her arm. And so now the entire family, and luckily she has the humor to accept this, but the whole family is like, well, it's Turdo Supremo, eh? So one day when she's old enough to start dating and have boyfriends, and they say, why does your uncle call you Turdo? Kids are great. Kids are great. Folks, we recommend kids. They're just too cool. Jonas, do we have one more super chat, or are we good to go?
We do. It apparently has my name in it. Alberta's Magnus for $5. Jonas, you should hate the former Dewey more than the latter. I don't
know.
To hate the person.
I don't know.
But if he's a communist, well, then he's an enemy of truth.
Ladders, I hear, are responsible for more falls and more back injuries than trampoline. So I have to say I still hate the ladder as well.
Still traumatized from Christmas Vacation.
I'm getting word that just like Turdo, this is me not knowing the spelling of ladder. Oh, sorry about that. All right, Jonas, we've got more stories to go, but you're going to be dropping. Is that true?
Yep, I got to go. Apparently, there's a bunch of kids at my house, and as wonderful as they are, I don't think they're turdos. Although maybe I might knock out a couple of fart knockers at them.
Hey, that's right.
But
all right, Jonas, we'll catch you real soon. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, folks, the fun continues on. Let's dive in. Disney's Sunny Hostin and The View. Well, let's just say she is leading a pack of celebrities hating on America as soon as the 250th had come to an end. The Walt Disney Company seriously needs to get their act together. ThatParkPlace.com reporting on this. Disney's Sunny Hostin off The View says she feels unsafe in neighborhoods with American flags. That's right, the American flag, who, by the way, the American flag, which I have had family members serve in wars. I've had family members be POWs to defend the flag and what it represents. It scares Disney employees, a.k.a. Sunny Hostin. And don't think for a minute that Sunny Hostin is not really actually Disney. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. The View co-host Sunny Hostin sparked backlash after claiming that seeing neighborhoods covered in American flags makes her feel unsafe, while also comparing a person wearing an American flag on their hat to wearing a hood. Hostin made the comments during a discussion about America's recent 250th anniversary celebration and the state of the country. The conversation turned to a viral image showing members of a group of masked men from the controversial organization Patriot Front, I'll say it that way to get around YouTube, riding the DC Metro while wearing American flag-style insignias, and I'll just tell you, I don't believe for a minute that those are legit people, but hey, that's just me. All right, so here she is. Here's Sunny Hostin, Benny Johnson hosting this, and co-host of The View, Sunny Hostin, Before I play the clip, though, I just want to show you. I want to prove what I say, that Sunny Hostin is 100% Disney company certified. Disney celebrated America's 250th with a 24-hour nonstop live event on the 4th. Who did they get to help with this? Well, if we go down to the list of people that were involved in it, what does it say? The View co-hosts, Disney legend Whoopi Goldberg, Sunny Hostin, and Sarah Haynes, along with more of the ABC News team and talent. The event takes viewers across all 50 states to explore the people, places, and defining moments of the nation's 250-year history. So when the Walt Disney Company decides they want to celebrate America, they go to Sunny Hostin, who is made to feel unsafe by American flags. They go to Sunny. Get them Sunny. Here's what Sunny had to say as soon as the 250th was underway.
And with an American flag on that cap, you might as well have a hood on. You might as well have a hood on, because that's what it looks like. That's what it feels like.
But you say this is the best nation. The best nation for who?
Yeah, when you say it's the best nation.
When you say it's the best nation, the best
You know,
nation for
her
who?
butt a
Because
little
if we are
fat to be
celebrating
talking about this. I'm
Well,
sorry.
these are also multi-millionaires.
Yeah, she a little rich and a little overweight to be talking about how terrible it is to be in America. I had to get that out. I'm sorry.
She likes M&Ms.
250 years. What are we exactly celebrating is what I want to know. And so I'm really glad that
Those earrings.
picture was taken, because that picture is how we feel walking into many rooms down the street.
bling on her
That
rings,
picture is how we feel, and nobody.
Can I just say, the chances that this is a planned psyop is 1,000%. Yeah, you say, how do you know, pro? Okay. All of these people are masked, so you can't tell who they are. Why are they masked? Why are they not out? And this has been going on forever. And look at the dude with the mummy mask on. I mean, this is so stupid, right? You all know what people say about this group and who it's actually funded by, okay? But then look in the top right. Reuters. Cheney Orr is the photographer. Folks, how did they get all of these, every single one of them a white dude, every single one of them wearing giant masks? How did they get a teenage girl sitting by herself and a photographer just so happened, a professional Reuters photographer, just so happened to be there? See, this is the kind of stuff that you got to sit and think about for just a minute before you go, oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is all this is rehearsed. And then they go to the View with Sunny Hostin.
Nobody will believe us. So look at that picture and understand how it feels.
And you never should be made to feel like that. It's wrong that this woman is.
And I said this on this show many, many years ago, because this is my 10th year on the show. And I said there are times when I walk into a community and I see American flags all over the community, and I suddenly feel unsafe because there is a section of this country that has co-opted the American flag, and they equate being an American or an American flag with white supremacy, and that should never be.
I think that's totally, absolutely crazy. Now, I don't want anybody to suffer from racism. I don't want anybody to be mean to anybody. I think personally that being mean to somebody based on the color of their skin or making any assumption about somebody based on the color of the skin is the lowest level form of thinking you can have. It is utter stupidity. It's Neanderthal level. But I think these people engage in it all the time, and then they pretend that they're on the side of defending people. And I think they actually create all kinds of fake hoaxes and nonstop nonsense to try to divide people. So anyway, and if the picture is real somehow, some way, if it's less than 1%, that that's legit, then, you know, I feel terribly for anybody who's standing around those guys, because I think that masked individuals, top to bottom, are creepy, scary, and stupid. I have my thoughts about who's funding them to do that, and I don't think it's legit conservatives whatsoever. But anyway, I wanted to bring that up, that Disney is celebrating the America with a woman who says the American flag actually bothers her. Before I go to the panel for conversation, though, let me add to this, because Mark Ruffalo, this is out of Variety, Mark Ruffalo has become Disney's dude. Pedro 2.0. Mark Ruffalo's in everything Disney's going to do. Mark Ruffalo, Sarah Jessica Parker, Margaret Atwood, Judd Apatow, and more give instructions to combat Trump's tyranny on July the 4th. That's by Marlo Stern. There is Ruffalo. Now he says, be as courteous as you can be. And there's nothing wrong with that, eh? But this is part of a giant, of course, you know, Variety's going to do the most positive thing they can. This is all part of a giant video they released on the 250th of America, basically condemning America with a lot of Hollywood celebrities and stars. We'll try to get to where this is the guy who's behind it. I forget his name. Here's Disney's dude, Mark Ruffalo, and what he says on the 4th of July.
All right, let's talk about the rules. Tim Snyder's rules.
Tim Snyder.
Lesson 1.
Do not obey in advance.
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 Now, they think you're so stupid, and their followers, that's who they believe they're talking to, of course, that they have to say it 4 times in a row, and the power of celebrity will drive it into you. And they go through all of these rules to fight against Trump's tyranny. Panel, this is who Disney is associated with. This is why Disney is going down. They promote these people. Culture, I'll go to you first on this one. No, actually, is it okay if I go to Caro? Caro, you've served, and I think you get the chance to weigh in on this first. Caro, I despise what Disney is doing, who they promote. These people are, I believe, truly, they are anti-everything America might stand for and everything America might do. They are regressive. They are anti-progress. They are anti-human. And their beliefs lead to things like Mamdani in New York, where you can't even control the thermostat in your own apartment anymore. Carol, your thoughts on who Disney puts in the lead, Sonny and Ruffalo, this time?
These are... Man, sorry, I'm trying to... I know you've got rules for language, and I'm trying to...
It's hard for me on this segment, too. I don't like it.
So my thing, okay, so going to the repeat thing that you have, that's actually a psychology trick that people do in order to like influence the way that you're thinking. So that's why it's happening. And they do it with different voices because it triggers different parts of the brain. If you just hear the same voice, then it gets droned out.
With the expectation, Carol, that their viewers are not smart enough like we are. We see that and we say, oh, that's a psychological trick. They don't believe their followers are smart, so that's why they do that.
Yes. So there's that. One thing I'm going to give, late Princess Didi, Princess Diana, is that she did a lot of volunteer work, right? Like she would go into other countries and she would help the people that were in need, and she would see like how terrible things were, and then she would go through the effort to try and alleviate those things. I would really like these people that advocate against America to actually go and engage in some of that charity work as well, because I think that they have a very gross misunderstanding of what it's like to be in America compared to other places, and maybe that that experience will give them a new perspective, because, rich people talking about how terrible it is to be in America seems kind of funny. I mean, you can go to China if you want and see how you like it there.
Rosie O'Donnell couldn't handle Ireland. And Kara, I know you've been all over the world. I've been all over the world. I'm not trying to be negative about the world, but every time I go anywhere, even to some of the nicest places, and I'll give an example, okay? When I was in Monaco's supposed to be super nice, right? When I left Monaco and I came back to the U.S. after about 2 weeks, I came back to the U.S. and I said, oh my gosh, how nice it is to be back in America. Not because I didn't have a good time, but people just take for granted how ridiculously rich America is. Like the poor people in America. Now you can force yourself to be even more poor than this, but poor people in America are still running around with cell phones that have all of human knowledge in their pocket. And unless they're in New York, they still have air conditioning and heating and comfortable beds. And I'm not saying, like, I know there are people working 2 jobs and struggling to get by, but I'm telling you, go to another place, go check it out, and you'll come back and say, I can't believe, how nice we have it, and we just don't see it because this is where we are.
Yeah, no, I mean, we definitely have it pretty smooth here. I mean, I lived in Europe. I've been in Japan. I've traveled a lot.
Okay, I do like Japan.
Yeah, well, Japan's very efficient, but they've also got like their own like poverty issue that they're kind of ignoring. And it's only going to get worse, especially
tiny living spaces.
Well, it's tiny living spaces. They actually, like, when I'm talking about like their homeless population, they're just pretending like it doesn't exist. It's really bad. But like, for example, when I lived in England, I was there as a dependent at the time for 7 years. We were given certain areas that we weren't allowed to go to because they were anti-American. And if they heard their accent, we would not come home. Right. Like, it's like they had those communities. I won't say what demographic it was, but I think you can figure out which one it was. So we were never allowed to go to those areas. Right. If we went to one time, we went to France because my grandparents really wanted to go there. My dad and I could not leave Paris. We were not allowed to leave Paris. And the reason we couldn't leave Paris is because the surrounding area had a demographic that if they found
you're talking about the ring around Paris.
Yeah, no, if you left Paris.
So Paris, I've been to Paris and spent a significant amount of time there. the tourist areas are wonderful. But there are places in Paris, you know, and I'm not saying that American cities are devoid of this, but like there are places in Paris that you don't go. And I felt very unsafe at times. You know, I, as a man on the metro, I mean, you would have le métro. You'd have people show up with a little guitar with one string and play that one string. And then they expect you to pay them money. And there's nobody that's going to come help you if you get in a fight with the homeless person who expects you to pay money because they came and plucked a string 3 times.
Yeah.
So,
or you get like some cultural things. Like, so for example, one tidbit about Paris is that, you know, if you need to get a taxi, or rather, I don't know if they have Uber over there, so it might be slightly outdated. But if you wave down a taxi and say, hey, I need to go here, they're like, I'm not going that way. And they just leave, right? Where in America, when you get a ride, that ride takes you where you need to go. So we take that for granted.
Right.
We have great public transportation. We have amazing, I don't care what anybody says about the healthcare. I mean, I've been on the bad side of it, you know, due to like the whole cancer thing and whatnot, but we still have amazing care over here. We really do. Like one procedure that I had over in England that they didn't want to treat, I got treated in a day because they're like, oh no, you definitely need to get treated for that.
Right.
What was the other thing? Air conditioning. That's apparently a thing. I don't know why Europe is like so anti-air conditioned. It used to boggle me when I lived there as a teenager.
They propagandized their population because they ran away their energy production, so they can't handle air conditioning, and so they have to pretend that it's to save the world, right? And that's what they tell their population. And so I was watching a video. There's a young mom in England who she was talking about her child's bedroom, and we're talking about infants, was 90 degrees. 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's too hot, yeah.
Too hot. And she was struggling because she's been propagandized her whole life. She was struggling with, my child needs air conditioning, but I'm being told not to get an air conditioner, and I know it's the wrong thing because we're trying to fight climate change, but my baby also can't sleep. And it's like, you know, that is real life logic running up against 24 years of solid programming of just idiocy, right? I mean, the oceans haven't moved a millimeter in 50 years.
Yeah, so. And one more thing I'll add, and then I'll get out of the way of culture.
We're let him rip into Sonny Hostin and Mark Ruffalo in just a minute.
I can't stand Sonny. I can't. But the one thing is like this misinformation about like how things are here in America. It's not just like something that happens overseas. It happens here in America too. So when Eric was asked me to relocate from Florida to Texas.
And real quick, Eric July, the guy who's behind Rippaverse.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Just clarifying.
Yeah. Rippaverse Publishing. So when he had me relocate to be closer to the site, you know, I was like, of course I'm going to do that. I told one of my friends I was going to move to Texas, and he was like, I'm so sorry for you. And I was like, why? I was like, why? It's like, women are treated terribly in Texas.
Where were you moving from, Caro?
Florida. I moved from Florida to Texas. And this guy
you had a friend in Florida who was confused about Texas?
No, he was from North Carolina, right? He was from North Carolina, and I had told him I was moving to Texas.
Okay.
And he was like, no, they're treated terribly. They don't have any rights and blah, blah, blah. And so like my first week living in Texas was me showing how nice everybody was. Like a guy opened the door for me.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody like gave me advice. I got lost and somebody helped me. And, you know, at one point I was like, I don't understand. Like I've actually gained weight though. So that's like the one downside of moving to Texas.
Yeah, god dang it. We apologize for Buc-ee's. We didn't mean to do that to you.
The food is delicious. I can't stop eating it. That's why I'm now walking as much as I am. It's really rough.
The bad thing we can say about Texas is too darn windy.
Yeah. But I mean, so the misinformation isn't just like outside, it's inside too. And it's all due to this propaganda that comes out from NPR and The View and all that. The whole like I don't feel safe around American flags. You should feel the safest in a neighborhood that's got American flags everywhere. You absolutely should.
Culture. We experienced culture shock one time when we had a guy visit one of the red states, and he was coming from a very blue region, and he couldn't believe, you know, everything he'd heard about red states was, you know, just a nightmare place, just, you know, Jesus land of poverty. And he was like, how are the houses this big? How is this, like, you know? And I think that the perception is incorrect, but I think it's made possible by purveyors of nonsense and psyops like Mark Ruffalo and Sonny Hostin, and all of them promoted by Disney.
Yeah, and I think this is where I continue to have my opinion validated. The fact that I do believe Disney is an anti-American company. I
They
think
are
they're
now,
not.
yeah.
I think that they continue to push the same narrative, no matter what network they're on, no matter if they're a news program like The View is supposed to be, or if they are telling us sports news. I think we're constantly assaulted by a misinformation or outright lies and propaganda. And Disney is the biggest purveyor of that right now. And, there's a story floating around about the fact that the Ellisons actually have in their possession, materials that show just how, much the news is not trusted, how wokeified media and television have been. And they're going to, counter all of that in, the things that they own and control. I'm looking forward to those days. But at the same time, I think that Disney is one of the direct parties responsible for the lack of trust in news media. I think that we've been lied to for so very long, and Disney itself has been caught up in lies so often that they've had to make apology or settle, defamation cases, et cetera, to the detriment of their shareholders.
But isn't this hurting culture? This anti-American, like, I think it's got to the normies now.
Yeah.
Isn't this hurting them when we see that July is the least crowded month at Disney World since the shutdowns with the pandemic? And we're watching, Toy Story 5 was supposed to be the big thing. It's going to struggle to hit $1 billion. Their box office numbers are suffering. People think they're doing well, and you actually look behind the hood and you say, well, actually, these are losses. Culture, I think Disney is in trouble promoting people like Sonny, and I think that Dana Walden, if folks don't know that name, Dana Walden is the woman behind this. She's Kamala Harris's best friend. She's the second in command at Disney. She was put there to placate Hollywood, and I think Wall Street has lost control of her. I think she's gone, if not rogue, I think she's doing exactly what she wants to push politics and partisanship inside Disney.
I'll go a step further and say she went full Obama at Disney. And I think that that's really bad for this country. We never had more divisiveness than that we did with that 8 years. And you don't need more divisiveness inside of Disney, which they already created themselves. There are many examples of Disney doing the wrong thing whenever possible. And that's honestly hurt Disney across the board, not just in theme parks, but everywhere. So again, you can continue to shunt the losses from your film and television products over to the theme park division via the streaming service that you have that doesn't make any profit. So
Culture, what are your thoughts on this photo? I put myself on the line saying this.
I agree.
I don't see how this photo is organic, and this is what Disney's putting out there with The View. I don't understand how this photo can be organic, because I don't see how a Reuters photographer can be positioned here, and the entire train has no other passenger at all, and the Reuters photographer is standing in the exact position to be able to put her in the middle of the frame of the photo, second row, so you have the foreground, so that she gets the exact look of being surrounded. Like, I don't know how this can happen unless it's synthetic.
Paying attention to her either. Like, look, that nobody's looking at her. Like, nobody on this train cares about this girl in the chair. Like,
no, and that's why, like you said, this is inorganic. I would call it an op, and I think I'd be right. And there are very few instances where these people are unmasked when they've been arrested, and we get to see screenshots. And I had to actually solicit Grok for the better part of 5 minutes to get down to brass tacks to get those access to any mugshot image.
Without saying who they are. When we look when they are unmasked, does it turn out that they're not who the media tells us they are?
I would say that the pictures, the images that Grok is willing to show me, are people that would fall within the framework that they want them to, but at the same time would also fit into the anti-FA folks possibly. Outside of having fancy hair coloring and stuff like that, right? But and again, I mean, the more the more this goes on, and the more somebody tries to drill down on it, the more I think we'll eventually get to the truth, and we'll find out that they aren't self-funded as they've been described as, but there's somebody that's providing centralized funding for them and their leadership, and if that turned out to be an intelligence op, it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not saying it
folks.
is. I'm saying
Culture is talking about figuring out the truth That's something that we believe in. But Sonny, Mark, and the rest of Disney, I don't think they believe in the truth, and especially not with a capital T. All right, Hollywood is prepared to save The Odyssey, which is looking very much like One Battle After Another 2.0, a movie that was supposed to make $1 billion and instead died at the box office, but it got a lot of awards because Hollywood loves to insert their own ideologies and dream of hurting conservatives. Marvin Montanaro writing this one off of geeksandgamers.com. The Odyssey press tour will not stop in Greece amid growing debate over Greek representation in the Christopher Nolan film. AKA, this is about the Grecian people, Greco people, and it's a no-go for Hollywood. They're too busy representing everybody else. Authenticity, I think not. And as the ratios are growing, 10-1 negative ratios for this film, Hollywood is preparing to go to the mat to try to save it. Zach Scharf writing this for Variety. The Odyssey first reactions are raves for Christopher Nolan's astonishing, epic, and flawless filmmaking. Breathtaking, bold, and perfection. Now, here's what I can tell you. It's not flawless. Okay, and this is how we identify the propaganda here, and it's how you can identify the propaganda. All right? It might be phenomenal. It might be great. I haven't seen the film, so I don't know. But it is not flawless. It is not perfection. There are exceedingly few films that ever achieve anything of that sort. In fact, probably you could count them on both hands in the history of all movies that we would actually say are perfect movies. Literally perfect. So when we see these as the declarations, we know that the game is rigged. So what does it say? Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey has finally been unveiled to members of the film press who are calling the Oscar winner's adaptation of Homer's epic a staggering achievement with flawless filmmaking. It appears Nolan has hit another huge hit on his hands. For those of you listening and not watching, you're thinking, how is Homer Simpson getting in there? Well, we could do a few impressions. Quote, a filmmaking feast, wrote Collider's Perry Nemiroff. A grand and gripping rendition of Homer's epic and one that feels uniquely Christopher Nolan. It's sincerely hard to imagine any other filmmaker on the planet being able to bring that source material to screen with this much scale, scope, and heart. And all credit to Perry. She doesn't say it's perfect or flawless or anything like that. They went to that one for their first. Discussing film, said it's a staggering achievement. IndieWire said it's the last act rewards the journey, despite some clunkiness along the way. But of course, that's not in the title. But then we get to this. Film journalist Simon Thompson said, flawless filmmaking. Every inch as epic as you'd expect. Leading a stellar cast, Matt Damon gives Odysseus everything in a career best powerhouse performance. Robert Pattinson is outstanding as Antinius, and John Leguizamo's Luigi. Emmaus is sublime. So, many of these people are calling it perfect. Why are they doing so, folks? Because this is not your mama's Odyssey. This is not your grandpappy's Odyssey, and this is not the Greek Odyssey. No way. Christopher Nolan is going after a complete rewrite of the epic, and that includes modern messaging. Killa Crew says Christopher Nolan tells Amy Poehler about the challenge of adapting the Odyssey, saying you can't compete with how millions of people have already imagined it, so he had to make his own. Here's part of that, folks. We can't play all of it. We'll get hit with the ding, but here's as much as we can bring to you.
Compete with the imagination of people who have read and studied the Odyssey. I mean, it's like you're competing with the idea of the Odyssey in a way.
It's almost like we've never done this before with any book. Oh, wait, Lord of the Rings. What's he say?
I learned this. We all learned this who worked on the Dark Knight trilogy. Like you couldn't compete with people's idea of that amazing character and the, at the time, 75 years of history behind it. This is 3,000 years for people imagining.
That's why, Culture, I think we should recast, if we do Lord of the Rings, we should recast. Frodo should be played by Paige. Is it? I can't remember the first name anymore. It's changed, but Paige.
Elliot. Yeah.
Elliot. Paige.
I think Shaquille O'Neal would be the best Frodo.
Great idea. You know what? Actually, I would go see a Lord of the Rings with Shaquille as Frodo. I actually would. That's astonishing. Culture
How do we
there.
get that to happen now?
Please make it happen. Little Shaq Fu in Middle Earth.
Little AI of Shaq in.
So Culture, this is an all-out effort because it's being ratioed into the ground. I mean, this is Snow White levels of the audience hates what's being done, and they're not having fun. Worrying that this is going to go to absolute Hades and back. But people hate it, Culture, and they're not excited. Hollywood is circling every wagon they have. Will this work?
No. 10.8% of the people who see the trailer respond negatively, and they are ratioing the other 69,000 people that were positive. 618,000 versus 69,000. That tells you just how much people are despising what they see, because only 69,000 people who've seen this trailer have bothered to rate it anything.
But Culture, they're going to say, well, you haven't seen the film yet, so how dare you? It just doesn't correlate to anything. But every single time we've seen this play out, every single time without exception, there has never been a time when a movie was getting ratioed like this, and suddenly the box office happened, and YouTube isn't real life. The normies, they never saw that the trailer was like this. They love the movie. That never happens. That never plays out. It always turns into disaster.
Well, it's the same. This is the same defensive play that they made with Supergirl, with exactly the same results. And again, when I know that I always rely on quorum numbers when it comes to this nowadays, but they seem to always turn out to be correct. And if you're looking at 47% intent to go, or interest, I should say, in this film, you're going to get exactly the same kinds of results you did out of Supergirl. Now, mind you, Supergirl, I don't believe was rated R. This is rated R. So you've already limited your audience to adults primarily. Also, how many people are really and truly fans of the Iliad or the Odyssey, specifically the Tale of Odysseus?
I think the name Christopher Nolan is going to carry it to some degree. But Carol, what I think is going to happen, and Culture, please weigh in as well.
Yeah.
What I think is going to happen is, I think it is going to have a big opening weekend. And I think they're going to talk about that. They're going to be like, oh, they defeated the trolls, the YouTubers, they didn't know what they were talking about. And then I think that second weekend, if it's not a good film, and I haven't seen it yet, so I leave that caveat, but if it's not a good film, and if it is as the trailers present, I think you'll see a 75, 77% drop that second weekend if it's not good. And that will be something Hollywood will not be able to contend with. It'll be something they can't stand, that yet again they could not control the audience.
I just hate it. I just hate it.
Professional analysis from Carol. I just hate it.
I like classic works, and I feel like this thing that we're doing with the Odyssey is a strange deviant butchering of the classical works, and I'm gonna go watch it because I'm probably gonna write a review on it.
Welcome to my world. It's like, did you go see it? Of course I had to.
I had to. Yeah. I wish, it's such a hallmark, and like there's so many keystones of this story that you can find in classic literature. It shaped our culture. It's created phrases for us, everything. And so just to see somebody with the audacity to be kind of like, oh, I had to reimagine it in my own way because it's
I had to change everything.
Yeah, it's such an egotistical thing to do. I mean, what kills me is that when I've seen the trailers in the theater for the last few films that I've gone to see, the trailer looks amazing there, right? It looks like it's paying homage to the way it's supposed to be. But I also know what they've been saying on the internet and in their interviews, and it's like, it drives me crazy. Like, it absolutely drives me crazy.
I just love this photo. I don't know why I love this photo so much. There's just something in the photo that stands out to me as indicative of everything going wrong with the film. I don't know.
Yeah, well, not to mention, but I think a third of the cast are in the next Spider-Man movie, but I could be wrong. Look, the clips, I think, are the things that have been not selling this for me, and letting Lupita Nyong'o go out there and go a full, feminist therapy session on the interview was not a good idea. If you guys haven't seen those clips.
Yes, we played that in a previous video. Holy moly.
I dropped it in a video I released this morning because I'm like, this lady doesn't understand the audience that she's trying to appeal to.
If you could say one thing to historic figure Homer, one of the greatest writers of all time, what would you say? I would say to him, why do you not give women more screen time? I'm sure that was on his mind 4,000 years ago.
Three millennia, and at least Christopher Nolan gets that right. What I find rather disgusting, and again, this is just me. Caro doesn't have to be thrown in with what I think, although she is director of Daily Disaster.
Guilt by association. Now we're all stuck with your culture. What are you going to do?
All I'm going to say is that they got probably the worst casting together for the characters that they're trying to represent in the film. And they're bringing a character from outside of Odysseus's tale
You don't
into this.
You don't like a rapper being brought in to play the part of a bard?
Yeah, that's not what I'm referring
to. You don't like that?
No, I'm not a fan. No, and I'm
Travis
not a fan
Scott?
of that. I'm not a real fan of his either. He had some very strange Astro World moments down.
I think they should have got Bad Bunny to play Helen of Troy. I think they didn't go far enough.
Well, they kind of did. Anyway, so I thought that the Elliot Page character was going to be Elpenor, and instead it's Senon, and Senon's not in the story. So how? Well, no.
Here you go again. Here you go, claiming
Carol
that
left.
you know the Odyssey better than Caro.
Carol left. She's
completely
left.
gone.
She's mad at me. I did
completely out of
I did
there. Sayonara.
What did I do?
I'm not mad at you. I'm just mad that it happened.
Okay, I'm sorry. I feel bad. Like I didn't. I'm sorry.
I'm not mad at you. Trust me. When I'm mad at you, it will be a very.
Okay, well, don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me.
I'm not. I'm about to be mad.
Here's
at
a
you. Keep
little
saying
song
that.
I wrote. You might
Kara.
want to write it note for note. Hey, Caro, when you see this, though, when you see that it's flawless film, I should say that like Mortal Kombat, flawless filmmaking and perfection. Did your propaganda radar just start flashing like boop, 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 propaganda?
Yeah, it's like when Bob Iger left office and all of a sudden we got flooded with all these articles about how amazing his time in office was and all the money that he made. And it's really just so that way they can feed more information into the AI, because people aren't going to actually go through and read all these articles themselves and actually like
that's
research.
That's a good point.
They're just going to go straight to the AI and ask for it. So
ChatGPT, what are they saying about, should I go see it? Well, they're saying that it's perfection, that it's flawless victory.
So everybody with an article or a website, you have to share your thoughts on it. Okay? Like, because if you just let the mass media just come out with all these lies, then people who aren't able to think for themselves are just going to go for the obvious bait. So do your part. I'm doing mine. Go watch it. Leave an honest review.
And as Caro would say, I'm sure, bless their hearts.
Just
bless their hearts. Belcher, you want the final word?
No, I can't think of a better way to end it than with Carol.
Bless their hearts. And bless our hearts, ladies and gentlemen, because we missed 2 stories today, but we've run out of time. We got to wrap this thing up. But let's just say on the Pro Show, Pro Channel, we're going to be releasing some more videos. We're going to be talking about California's tax credits not going where they said they were. Turns out it's going overseas. Who'd have ever thought? So, dear California voters and citizens, you're being ripped off so badly. That it was supposed to save the entertainment industry in Los Angeles. They're sending it overseas. You're welcome. And also, we're going to be talking about in the next few days, I'm sure. Let's see. Oh, they have utterly destroyed Avatar: The Last Airbender. Just absolutely destroyed it, and now they're rushing to release this thing on Paramount. Terrible. Voice acting terrible. Woke claims another victim. Detail Devil for 199, part of the Niners Pro. Ruffalo said, be courageous. Not courteous. Yeah, you got me. Courageous. Courteous, they don't know that word. Packing Protons for 5. Celebs think communism will give them unlimited power. That's why they promote it. Hey,
yeah. And then if they look back at history, aren't they usually the first ones murdered?
They think the ones calling for the forbidden utopia always believe that they'll be inside the palace walls. They always think that.
Yeah, but they're the first ones with their backs against the wall.
French Revolution. Yeah. I'm telling you, there is something demonic that happens when people look at history. They see that their ideas led to just immense suffering. They say, haven't done it the right way yet. Sure. Detail Devil 499. NASA says sea rising, but continental tilt off. Oh, good grief. NASA says sea rising, but continental tilt is offsetting at the West Coast, exacerbates East Coast. Local conditions vary. Result here, Tuvalu rise, 2x global average, gone 100 years. They told you that Florida would be underwater by now.
I was supposed to be in an ice age in the 70s, Pro. What happened?
They told you that what's the little island where they said it's going to be gone? All these people are going to have to leave. They told you they're going to have to build all these giant seaside dams to hold back the water. None of it. Okay, here's the deal, folks. Go to Daytona Beach, okay, in Florida. Go to Jersey. Go to the Atlantic, okay? Go to the Atlantic Beach. Go look at pictures of where the ocean was, and then go back to where the ocean is. Go to the 1950s. I don't care. It's in the same place. It hasn't moved. The tides bring it to the exact same spot. It drops to the exact same spot. Nothing. Go look at maps from, this is easier. Go look at maps from the 1940s. Look at the coastline. Look at maps today.
Your facts
Nothing
don't match
changed.
my feelings. I need you to stop.
Nothing changed. And whatever continental tilt would be, what do we think? Is it like an island now? Is it like a boat? Who was it? Who was the doofus who thought Guam could tilt over? Was that Nancy Pelosi? I don't remember now. But anyway.
Surf's up.
Surf's up. Listen, there's continental drift, but we're not, the whole country didn't tilt, I promise you. Packing protons for 2. We need Pro to meet Dan C. for dueling, Castellaneta for dueling homers. Oh, I think I can do a better homer now. He's getting a little up in years. Woohoo! Go Pro. Oh, that's the name of a company. And a camera. Oh, cameras.
Homie, stop fantasizing about cameras again.
I can't help it, Marge. I'm into them. All right, folks, that's going to be the end for us right here. What culture? What do you make what was that gesture? What are you doing?
No, I was admiring your wonderful Simpsons impersonation.
Oh, thank you. I didn't even go into Mr. Burns. That's for a day down the road.
Okay.
All right, folks, we're going on the road. Caro Brown, though, you'll be at Southeast Game Exchange. Tell the folks out there where they can find you, what you're up to, and what you're doing these days.
Well, I will be wherever you guys are because you invited me. I know I'm doing.
True that.
I know I'm doing a panel at Marv. We'll be talking about character creations. It's supposed
That's
to be
Saturday, folks. Saturday, they'll be doing that one.
Yep, it's supposed to be 4 video games, but we'll try and keep it a little bit broader for anybody who might want to make it for a book or anything like that. And then let's see. I think how many books do I have out right now? I have a lot of books out. If you guys want to check them out and read them and leave a review, that would be really nice. And then I still have the charity book that's out right now, Tales from Twisted Ravens. And if you guys are interested in that, I would appreciate if you would be willing to share that with more folks.
Mods, please share that. Please. Say it again, Carol, for the mods. Put that out there real quick.
Tales of Twisted Ravens, and you can find that on ripison.com. So if you've already contributed, thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. It is for children that are in hospitals and cancer centers. And if you're not in a place to contribute, I understand. If you could just let other people who might be interested know, that would be great. We've extended the due date to August 31st, just because there's a magazine that's going to talk about it. So hopefully that will come out soon and I can flash it around and show you guys because that would be cool.
Awesome.
Otherwise, I'll be on the internets doing internet things whenever somebody pokes me.
And hopefully getting more steps than whoever it is that was foolish enough to challenge you.
I'm at 30,000 right now. I'm at 30,000.
40K going to happen today. Culture Casino. You're going to be there as well. We're doing the Pro Show live. First time in front of a live audience. Friday at 6 p.m. Of course, so many people going to be signing autographs and doing meet and greets on Saturday throughout the day. You've got the panel with Caro. And then I and Wizard will be doing meet and greets on Sunday starting at 2 p.m. So we got lots of stuff to do. Culture. We're going to see you there as well. Is that right, my friend?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'll be participating in signing my autograph. I don't know why anybody would want my autograph, but I will definitely do that on Saturday. Plus, I have Mexican Iron Man's poker chips from the original collection of poker chips. I tried to give it to him before he wasn't available. So hopefully he'll come down from his blessed island and join us for the 60s.
I hear tell that Mexican Iron Man just may show. And I want to say, if Mexican Iron, folks, if you had any reason that was stopping you from going, if Mexican Iron Man shows up to Southeast Game Exchange in time for the Pro Show Live, I dare say we will put him on the stage with us if he is so inclined. Okay? How's that for you? And folks, I know no better way to end the show and send you over to the dish with Ron Bradley than this. Folks, we'll see you soon. This one's for the rabbit chicken tacos. See you.
I thought that chicken tacos were better than the rest.
Are you ready for perfect, authentic Mexican cooking just like your mama used to make? Come on down to Mexican Iron Man's Rabbit Chicken Tacos and Lawn Care Services.
where not only do you get the freshest in Mexican cuisine, but you also get a fresh cut lawn. And don't forget to check out our second location, wherever the police have not yet run the van away from.
Rabbit chicken tacos, lawn care services.
And if you think the cilantro tastes very fresh, it's no accidente, amigo.
The mainstream media just can't understand how it is we continue to do what we do. They don't realize that we are powered by you, and you are...
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
Folks, we've still got decades and decades left in the can. It drives the mainstream mad.
Would it make you feel any better if you knew that what we're asking Matt here to do is a holy thing?
You see, we're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God.
Now you're gonna put me right back in the joint.
They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
So, folks, as we always say as we end each and every show here, and we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Every time they hit him, he stood back up again. So they hit him harder. Still, he got back to his feet. Standing man.